Hello and welcome to Snowskate Overlords. I'm Eric Frick here with Andrew Nelson and Zach L. Warden. And we're doing a guest-free Snowskate Overlords this week. We've put out a couple episodes with guests, and we're going to talk about some of the topics that we want to talk about in snowskating. And it's been great having guests on, of course, hearing their stories and getting their opinions on various things in snowskating. But this week we're going to dive into some topics that we want to talk about and dive into some of our own stories a little bit more. Let's kick it off. Andrew, how's your winter gone so far?
Oh, winter's been the best. As you know, got a park back again. For those of you who don't know, that's my biggest thing in snow skating is always park building. And have a great yard this year, as Eric could probably attest to that.
It's so sick. It's so much fun to ride.
To just kind of break it down to people, it's one big hill in the front of the yard and then a very shallow hill kind of in the side yards. Got basically moved. For those of you who don't know, I used to have a huge park at my parents' house. Had a lot of obstacles and stuff, and now I just got this new house in St. Paul, and it's got some good hills, and migrated all of my old park features, or what remained of them, here, which is another crazy thing, just to have a lot of like wrought iron sitting around the backyard and stuff. But yeah, so that's all set up. We've been having sessions. Taco Tuesdays we'll probably come to call it, I think, Eric.
Yep.
Seems to be what's up.
Yep, with you having Tuesday nights off and El Burrito Mercado really close to your apartment on the way over. Oh, it's delightful. So much fun.
Yeah, so that's been good. The conditions here in Minnesota have been pretty good.
They have been.
Yeah, I can't really complain this winter. I think it's as good a start as I've had to a season in maybe 5 years, I feel like.
Definitely. No, I very much agree with you. The skating in Minnesota has been fantastic. I mean, we had snow up north in the Duluth area around Thanksgiving. So I was going up there and skating a little bit. We didn't get it in Minneapolis until around Christmas-ish. But it's been a high of like 25 to 30 since then. And we had like, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 inches of snow, something like that. So we pretty much have the perfect base, and it hasn't gotten warm enough to really melt. Like we had one day where it got kind of warmer and everything got a little icy, but we haven't really lost much snow. So I think I've skated like 10 out of the last 12 days, something like that.
Yeah.
Just been perfect skating. Yeah, it's been a great start. Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood. Getting my flip tricks back too. That's another thing that I've been pushing. So that's been good. Just a little humble break there because that's a big deal.
They're tough to get back, man. I was trying kickflips the other night. I'll go into this when we talk about shoes a little more, but yeah, I realized I don't have kickflips anymore. I probably tried at least 15 times to do a kickflip off that kicker I was skating the other day, and nothing. I'm inclined to blame my 8 MTEs for it. I'm not entirely sure if I can, but Zach, I think I'm going to go the route that you take and skate the normal skate highs without the MTE soles.
Wow, long time coming. You've had those for a while. I'm surprised.
I know. I think we talked about this not on a podcast. We definitely talked about shoes for a while on Josh's, but I've only ever skated 2 snow skate shoes. I had the ICOs from like 2008 to like 2015, wore those for way too long, and then switched to the MTEs in 2015, and I've just been skating 2 pairs of those ever since. I just really don't like changing. Like the MTEs and the ICOs definitely are not good, but whatever. Start to try something else out, though. I'll go your method, Zach, see if it works.
I loved the ICOs, though. They lasted like 6 years.
Yeah, they did last a long time. It's kind of funny in hindsight, like how bulky those things used to be. And there was a period when I was filming for Sava, I actually rolled my ankle, and I had this giant ankle brace, and I was jamming that in. Like, I don't know if anybody watches football, but Rob Gronkowski on the Buccaneers, with his bionic arm, like I kind of feel like that was my ankle between like the ICO and like the giant brace that I would jam in there. But I don't know,
one
pretty
second.
silly. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, it's pretty silly in hindsight, but
hey, whatever works, that's the thing. You got to be really adaptable, in really all forms of snow skating, like from shoes to, whatever.
What is that, Zach? Oh, he can't hear us.
Oh, you mean one of these?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man.
Wow.
They are. I wish I could it doesn't look that big when I'm holding on to it. I wish we had my foot in it for reference. It's just a fucking tank.
Oh, it
It's
is.
so big. It has the ankle gaiter with the little tighten
Yeah,
around
little
your
cinch
ankle.
thing.
Gosh.
And the neoprene like sleeve thing tore like
Yeah.
instantly. I don't know if it
Yep.
did in yours, but mine were just immediately gone.
Actually, this one's still here. It's ripping a
Oh,
little
really?
bit right here, but
Okay.
mostly the other one is like ripped the whole way through. But that's
Yeah.
like 6 years of skating. I go through
Yeah.
skateboard shoes in like a month. So
Totally. Man, I should have brought my ICOs up from the garage. I got a couple pairs of snow skate shoes here ready to use as props for later discussion, but damn, I didn't think to bring up the ICOs. But anyway, Zach, how's your winter gone so far?
it doesn't sound like it's probably as prime as yours or your guys. You guys sound like you have some pretty good conditions. It's been super on and off here. It's
Okay.
also strange because I've been probably snow skating right now more than I ever have, maybe in like 5 or 6, maybe ever in my life. I'm just putting a lot of pressure on myself at the moment to get a part out that I like started filming last year and I'm trying to conclude this year. And it's kind of getting to me. I'm having a lot more fun just like filming phone clips and having a good time, but the conditions are just like up and down every day. The last week straight has been above freezing. I've been trying to go out at night. It's actually why I'm drinking tea right now. So I'm about to go out after this and try to get a trick. So I'm not having any
sick.
alcohol. So I don't know. It's been really up and down. I've actually had some really fun times and then like a lot of disappointing filming moments, like going out and just being like, fuck, this is not going to work today. But
Yeah.
it's never my fault for sure. So.
No, never. No, snow skating is incredibly condition dependent. Yeah, there are just some days where if the speed or the texture of the snow isn't right, your trick is just not going to work depending on what it is.
It hasn't been below like 25 degrees here all winter. It's
really
so warm this year. Yeah, and now we haven't had snow in like 2 weeks, maybe more, and we're like banking off of maybe 2 inches at the moment, and it's barely holding on. Yeah. So it's been a struggle. Like tonight, I'm going to have to prep the spot probably longer than it's going to take to even skate it. So at that point, it's like, is it worth it? Do I wait till later in the year? But then, you're racing the clock on when spring approaches. So it's like, fuck, I got to go out and try, or at least that's how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm
luckily, you guys you seem to be good for at least a couple spring snowstorms in Marquette, though. You guys usually get like a little bonus little segment of filming at the end of the winter, it seems like.
That's pretty true. Yeah, it just depends on conditions and how warm it is. That's like usually when Alan comes out here, or Andy, because they love like building huge packy jumps with warm snow, and they just don't get affected by conditions apparently. So
yeah,
I just watch them.
I know. It's so funny talking to Alan. Like, he's always talking about how snow skate season ends in like May because he does travel into Marquette. He goes out west and he's in the mountains. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I'm done. Like, as soon as like the first or second week of March rolls around, like I'm over
right.
it.
Same.
Like,
it's usually around March.
Are garbage, and like at least the stuff that we skate compared to the stuff that they skate. I'm like, well, I'm done.
Right. Same. So, yeah.
Who was it we interviewed on Wet Sox, and it was like, oh no, there's no bad days. Was that Rigo Bell? Maybe. Do you remember that one, Eric?
Oh, I do recall. I don't remember who said it though.
I think it was him, and he goes, you were talking about conditions, and he just goes, no, all conditions. He's just like he's one of those people like Alan or something where like
Josh Segay.
Josh Segay, yeah, that's right. And he said that, and he goes like, yeah, there's just no bad days. It's just how you overcome it. And I've always kind of thought to that too. But I do a lot of park riding, and it's pretty tame. Like, once you get a good trail down, unless it's like, way above freezing in a park, once you get a good pack, like it doesn't matter. Like, but streets, that's where it gets you.
But it is funny how much your mentality matters, right? Like,
oh yeah.
I was thinking back a couple of days ago, I was thinking about that trick I did, the heel flip, like feeble onto that rail in Duluth in like 2012 or whatever. And looking back on it, like, I don't know, A, why I even tried to do that, and B, why I tried to do it that day. Like, I remember it was like 40 degrees. My run up is like 15 feet long. It's straight slush. I'm riding a board with half of a sheet of X grip, no concave, totally flat, like these skate shoes. Like, I don't know, it was so strange. Like, just the worst possible conditions, and I was still out like trying to ride. And like, now I would never do that. Right. But at the time I just didn't think anything of it, and it didn't really affect you. So I don't know, maybe I'm just getting older and pickier the more I skate or something, and just waiting for the good days. I don't know. But yeah, the mentality definitely makes a difference, because I don't think I would go out and try to film in a day like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think everyone has their superstitions too at spots where like, a good example, like we went out last winter to that Powderhorn spot, the green dome, and I think Allen. And like you guys are kind of looking at the snow, and you guys are skating something else, and then like my mentality was like, just get it now. So I start building the jump onto it just out of ice chunks, because it was maybe I'd say
That's
like
what we did, yeah.
It was the kind of two kinds of snow you got, that sugar snow that doesn't pack, and then I went up to the street and got big ice chunks and just kind of started kind of stacking them to get a kicker up to that thing. And eventually I got it, but I mean, you have to make it happen. Like that's kind of what my attitude has been, at least in terms of that. But totally. I mean, you guys, it was just like a goof around session. I mean, you guys were having fun doing slides and stuff. And like, I remember just fucking around, and like, it was a good session. Like, I think that's the outlook is everything, I think.
Totally. And yeah, like we wouldn't have skated it had you not like put the kicker together. You know what I mean? Like we would have just been like, I'm over it. We could build it easier on another day. We're not even going to deal with it. You know?
That took like almost like a half an hour for me to get it to the point where anyone could skate it. And I was like, I enjoy doing that. I think that's the other thing. You have to be crazy to be a snow skater, because if you're coming at it from skateboarding, that's just, it's just not something you do in skateboarding. It's like, I don't know. But yeah, Zach, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say that I think there's a lot to be said or considered when choosing what trick you're going to try that day and conditions. Like right now it's been warmer here, so there's a couple things like on my trick list I look at, I'm like, that could probably still be okay today. So you really got to like toe that line, I feel like maybe with what you guys were doing, it sounds like, I don't know what it was, but it sounds like maybe you guys were trying to build something, or maybe it was more like, it wasn't like a street spot, so maybe you could have a little bit of warmer conditions and still make things work. Or you just go out in the worst conditions and having a really fun time, like on a little park build or something like that. It's just like, you're probably not going to be filming, but you're still probably guaranteed to have at least like a really fun time, like some ride-on stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
totally. Remember when I took the train to Kalamazoo from Chicago that one weekend where it didn't get below 40? We were trying to film snow skating, and it was just futile, just pointless.
Yeah.
Barely even ride, but God, it was a fun trip though. It was great.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of drinking clips. That was a pretty good drinking trip, actually.
Yeah, that was we were stacking the drinking clips too. I was actually watching like a week ago the video of you drinking the 24-ounce steel reserve can in like 40 seconds. Not many people have seen that video. That's a
pretty funny story, just because we were sitting around one night watching YouTube videos, like Chromecasting them, and there was like a challenge that was like, can you drink a 24-ounce steel reserve in under a minute? And like we were watching them, and like the results were really hit or miss. Like a lot of people surprisingly weren't doing it. And in my head, I'm like, what a bunch of fucking pussies. Like they can't do that. That's pathetic. And then Eric was like, oh, you can do that, Zach? I'm like, yeah, I could do that. He's like, all right. The next day, like unspoken, he just like went to the store and got one. He's like, here you go. I'm just like, oh, fuck. And I only puked a little after, but I did do it in 40 some seconds. So
yeah, it was like 40, 41 seconds, something like that. Yeah, you killed it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm proud of it, but I just proved it was not that hard.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Had a 40.
I did it again last year, too.
I have not had a 40 in probably over maybe 10 years.
Really?
Damn.
At the comp, I guess, last time. I don't even think I had one then, because those were the trophies for 40. So
yeah, that's true. I don't think we may have addressed this in a past podcast, but I need to give you another shout out, Andrew. At his old park, he hosted a contest in 2013. It was 2013, right?
Yeah, 13, I think.
2013, yeah. And the prizes were 40-ounce bottles of malt liquor for, I think, first, second, and third. Oh, it was like so
a fancy
sick.
ribbon on there. And then I wrote what the awards were: best trick and best line, I think. Which I think looking at it from a sesh, I think the way Phil does it too is his background's in biking, so I'm in motorbikes, I guess. So like they do like heats and divisions and stuff. Whereas like I'm just like, I think snow skaters will know like who got the best trick that day, and like there's pretty good consensus too, which is so best trick, best line, I think. I think you won. I think you got the pop shove it. Did you win one? Didn't you get pop shove it tail off the kicker that year? And then
I think that's what it was. Yeah, it was the kicker with the drop. I remember coming away with the 40 Old English. I was stoked.
Yes, and then someone had like a 3 trick or 4 trick line. I think that was pretty good. But yeah, that's a good one.
That was a blast. But
yeah.
On the note of your park, let's go into park building.
Yeah.
Andrew, this is something that you're really passionate about and have done a lot of in your snow skating past, between your the park that you referenced in Chanhassen and the park that you've built today in St. Paul. So I was wondering if you could talk us through some park building tips and tricks that you've learned over the years, because this is a way that a lot of people that like, this is snow skating to them, right? Like, you know, Zach, you and me, a lot of it's going out in the street and trying to film, but not everybody does that. You know, a lot of people are just riding in their backyards, riding on hills and parks and stuff like that. And there's a lot of things that you can do to make your snow skating a better experience through what you build.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really where it starts, is like some people look at snow skating as like a different version of skateboarding, and they pick spots to that nature. And then so I kind of look at it as maybe how much of everything is open up to snow skating. Like anything can be a spot, like a barrel, or I mean, really, like that's the fun of it for me, is finding unusual things to snow skate. Like I was just thinking about in my park, like, you know, a lot of the clips you see of people with parks, it's like there's really three only basic terrain, like a jump box or a rail, right? That's pretty common. But like I have more fun finding objects. I guess there's an art background to it too, which is also my background. It's my background in life and in my background in my little window here. So double entendre. Very funny. Anyway. So
Yeah,
like for instance,
go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, like so a lot of the stuff I find, like I have this, I call it the parabolic pole jam. It's a car bumper. It's kind of shaped like this, and it was just kind of floating around in the park one day. And I used to try to hit it like a rainbow, because it would be a really mellow rainbow the other way. And I had a friend over, and we flipped it up and like propped it up under some logs, and like just boots you right off. And there you skated it, and you know, it's one of the funnest things to skate.
It's probably the most fun snow skate obstacle I've ever skated, because it's just it's not even 3 feet long. It's maybe a foot and a half high, something like that, but it's the perfect angle to where it's gradual, and then it gives you just a little bit of kick at the end. So you can actually like ollie off of it and do tricks. I mean, you can spin and just launch off of it. There's just so many different things you can do, and it's such a strange obstacle that you know, unless you had the desire to, you know, build snow skate obstacles, or thought of that obstacle in that way, you wouldn't skate otherwise.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's really where I like to come in with the creativity, because it's like, it's not something you would see a snowboarder or a skateboarder do. I mean, a skateboard, I don't even know, like, because it's wider. I mean, I guess you could do something, but it's just like, you wouldn't be able to get the same kind of tricks on a snow skate. So it's really, but yeah, like finding things to skate is what it's all about for me. So, I mean, snow in my, like, is basically concrete. I mean, if we're getting into the technicals of park building, it's really, you just get snow and water. I've done it a couple of different ways. So like, you know, lately I'll just get a normal kitchen mop bucket, fill it with water, and icing stuff in, super, but you know, you put snow in the water, it's basically becomes slush that freezes even quicker, and good way to ice stuff down, or building jumps, or whatever you want to do. And that's what's so fun. I've seen a lot of people online too. But yeah, that is what it is all about for me. I love just creating things to snow skate on.
And in terms of freezing things, you actually had a tool to like sprinkle water on spots. I remember that a couple of years ago.
Right.
I don't know if I can disclose the spot or what we did to it, but you did bring something to ice over a spot, right?
Yeah, it would be called like a pesticide sprayer. It's what you would use to spray pesticide on, like at my house, on our apple trees or in our garden. It's just like a little tank, and you pump it up with it has like a handle, and you pump it up, get pressure in there, and then it just sprays, and you can adjust the nozzle to change the like a stream. So like a normal spray bottle like this, but pressurized, right? And yeah, so but the key is, like, I remember one season at the park, my dad let me run the hose in the winter, so that's not a good idea, and it fucked up the house a bit. But you know, so you could think of I don't think I told him I'd turn the water on. I think I just did it. I don't even think I asked. But the nozzle like shifted off the wall. So like the pipe was coming off the siding of the house. It was just kind of like sitting there. So that's not good. So, you got to think of ways to get water out there because that's really essential.
Totally.
And dangerous. Like if you have like just a flat bar that you like to skateboard and you just set it in the grass, that can shift when you're on it, and it's just you're gonna have a bad time. So like it's really essential to ice stuff down, and there's really no specific way to do it, but like you just can't have stuff moving around on you. I think that's maybe the number one source of injury because you can get really messed up on falling on stuff like that. But
totally. Yeah. Securing obstacles is crucial, whether or not you're freezing them in place like Andrew's describing, or if you're like skating a flat bar or something, even if you're just like kicking out snow and like just putting a place for the legs to go just so it is mostly in place so it doesn't move. That's super important because you don't want to jump on a rail and have the whole thing just slide out from under you.
Yeah. And then that also, my other point too is hills. Cause like that's, I think is really essential because I think having one of the things about snow skating is unlike skateboarding, you kind of need more time to get set up and not because you don't really set it down and push like you do on a snow skate. You either running start or just dropping in on a hill too is just the easiest way. So hills are pretty essential. I see a lot of people on Instagram or YouTube that build big piles of snow, drop off that. At Blaze Park in Quebec. What am I talking about? Sherbrooke, that's what I'm thinking. But he has like those risers, and he has like a perfect little, and like that's really essential because you need that speed and you need that stability to get set up for any trick that you want to do. So
he did such a good job with his park. I've never skated it, but it looks beautiful. And you're able to get that speed. He has those couple obstacles. I think he has the steps, and then he has a rail going down too off the platform, right, Zach?
Yeah, well, you can like interchange them, so you can like grab like there's like a rails you can put down or like this little hubba type rail box. But on the side like next to the forest there and stuff, you'll have like a press pad and things at times too. It's a good little training facility. It's fun. It's really well made.
It looks super fun. Yeah, and a very probably more so a good translation from for a skateboarder. Like it's almost like a skateboarding kind of a thing, which is pretty cool. Right. But yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, but kind of shifting, snow skating really isn't. It's not skateboarding and it's not snowboarding. And like watching some old clips today from old premiere clips from like 2000, and like the kind of obstacles they were hitting, like ride-ons, and a lot of using a lot of snows to build berms and stuff like that. That's not really. I did that 1 year for the comp, and like I'm just like, it's just not as fun. It's a lot of work to build that kind of stuff if you don't have professional equipment like at a snowboarding place or whatever. But
sure,
that 1 year, if you see the video, there's it's like a bank rail thing, just super fun. It was the weirdest thing I've ever built, I think, out of snow. But that took like maybe 3 days to pile up that much snow, shape it, freeze it, get the rail in. So yeah, I mean, that's when I see people that pile up snow to drop in, like that's just so much work that's going into it. So hills are pretty essential, I think.
Definitely. I don't have a ton to bring to the table as I never like had a park or had a yard conducive to a park. I did try to do the snow hill thing for a little bit and didn't work at all. But I think grooming is super important and something that I want to call out as well. Because if you skate a park or really skate any spot, this applies to, backyard parks and everywhere else that you snow skate. As soon as you're done snow skating, the best favor that you can do to your future self is to groom the run up and the landing. Because if you leave that snow skate track and then you leave the bogged hole from wherever you were landing, if you try to skate that at a later date, especially if the conditions fluctuate, you're probably screwed because that's probably just going to freeze in place and you're going to land in basically a bogged down ice bowl and not really have any opportunity to fix that spot and make it easy to skate like it was whenever you originally set it up. So yeah, just take a few minutes and just throw some snow over and smooth things out from what you were like your run up and your landing. If you're planning on skating something again, and that'll be huge. That'll help you out so much.
Yeah, that's an extremely good tip. I feel like we've never touched on, and no one ever says anything. But yeah, I even did that yesterday at a spot, and we have like a running joke among our friend group where it's like we'll hit a spot and maybe it wasn't very good that day. No one got a clip. And we always be like, wish I could come back. I guess it's done for the year. Like the spot's fucked now. Maybe next year.
Yeah, that little kicker edit I made a few days ago that I posted is just in some random park, and it's set up so perfect the way that I was skating it. And I was like, I want to skate this again, but I knew it was going to get a little warm. So I took the time and just shoveled snow over the whole thing and made it look like I didn't even skate it except for the jump. It's kind of felt like an idiot too, because I'm walking around a park just shoveling snow on, from one area of a hill to another area of the hill. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's going to pay dividends when I go and skate it this week, because it's basically going to be a fresh spot all over again.
Very worth it every time.
Yeah, totally. That was. I'm going to do a video on it, but there was this thing I invented, like maybe in like 2008 or 2007, I think. But I went to the hardware store and I got a bunch of like hard plastic kart tires, and I put them on an axle so that basically you roll it on the ground and it like presses everything down nice and even. And it's like that's the kind of level I was going to about grooming. I know typically at Midwest Open too, Phil has those professional snow groomers too, which help a lot. So
totally, absolutely.
But yeah, essential. I mean, any way you can do it, even just with the back of a shovel, just getting it packed down.
How do you feel about the rake, Andrew? I know our buddy Dan Burgeon has an awesome snow skate park that we just got set up this year too, in like an empty lot, and he always uses the rake, and it seems to work pretty well. But if there's anything better, I'm open to it too. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking about too, and I'm going to do a video about this thing I invented because it does not work. My idea was the tires would press down the snow and it would leave the imprint of the tires. So it's basically doing like what a groomer because the rake doesn't, I mean, you're dragging it, but it's not like packing down. And my whole thing with that was making sure it's packed down. So like my invention is like this, and let's say on an axle, and then it comes up like this. So it's like a broom, and then you just like roll it, and you can push down on it, and it gets all packed down.
Right.
And to the pattern on the tire. So it gives it like a little texture. But yeah, eventually I stopped using it because it just like, I don't know, but it was a good idea. I'm going to do a video about it in a couple weeks here. So, but yeah, it's super important. I mean, to an extent, it's more important in a street spot like you guys are talking about. Cause like, at least in my experience, like right now, my park is not super groomed. It's been kind of nice here because it's in the 20s. You don't have to worry about it as much. But later, if we get some real February weather, and it gets like super cold and icy and shifting those conditions, then I'll definitely take it more seriously, because that affects your speed too. Like I have a dog too that's like running around the yard, so like she's always messing up the tracks and stuff. So you really want to look out for that. But yeah, I love it. You can tell I just love park building. Like it's always my favorite thing.
Yeah, it's always been, something that you're clearly passionate about and something that you've always done such a good job at. Like I know if you set up a park in your yard, it's going to be super fun to skate, which is especially I was so excited when I saw you moved into that house and you sent me a photo of the yard in the summer. I was like, oh, this is going to be so much fun in the winter.
Yeah, and going back to Danny B's park, Perfect Hill, I mean, he had that like a little comp there last year. I mean, a big thing for me is seeing what other people are building, and like seeing people, like especially like how at that park he set up some good lines, which I really like to see. Versus like single trick clips. I always love seeing a good flow, which that park has great flow, which is really cool.
That park is so much fun.
Yeah,
you'd love it.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he's told me too. Like I got to get out.
Really fun. It's my favorite one I've ever skated, and it's great because it's just like it's just like a lot on the side of on his house that isn't even his property, but it's like the college's. So we just started setting up things there, and no one said anything, and it's been fine. Like last night we had like a little gathering, like snowboarders, skiers, and then like snow skaters. So it's kind of cool. Like everyone comes out. Sometimes it does get a little weird if you're trying to snow skate while people are trying to like ski it though, because the tracks like are kind of strange. But regardless,
that's what I was just about to say. That's a tough thing to share, because like I was talking about earlier, like terrain doesn't really transfer from one to the other. Like my favorite obstacle this year, and this is a great idea for anyone who's looking for like a good pre-built object that they can snow skate. But my favorite new piece of terrain is a Rainbow Play Systems tube slide, a half tube slide upside down. So you're skating the opposite side. So it's just like a big airmail like this, right? And it is the funnest thing, but like it's plastic. Like you could only do it on a snow skate. If you had skis or even a bideck, like with metal edges, you'd dig in and just wreck it. So, but
right.
God, that thing is a blast. It's so much fun to skate.
It's the best. It's the best. I found out because this is a great, just living in a neighborhood as a kid too, and like finding junk on the side of the road and like dragging it home behind my bike and shit and being like, I'm going to use this in the winter. Like that's exactly what happened. It's like my neighbors took down their playground and like they just put all the chopped up wood by the side of the road and then they had the slide and I was like, oh, that'd be great. So I just like took it. Slides really well. So it's pretty cool.
That's so much fun.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Oh, and one other thing too, as long as one
we gotta take a quick break here, Andrew.
We'll take a break.
All right, we are back. If you guys thought that was a commercial break coming, it wasn't. Nobody pays us. We don't have any sponsors. It was to circumvent the 40-minute free Zoom call limit. I wish somebody paid us. Well, we'll sell our souls pretty quick if somebody wants to throw us some money. But anyway, we're back. Andrew, do you want to go into some basic park building tips for somebody who wants to get into building a park on their own?
That's exactly what I want to do. Now, I think it's, again, like the way that I kind of learned was just watching what other people were building on YouTube. And I kind of had a dad who was pretty open to helping me, or at least learning me how to use tools. So PVC rails are always going to slide really good, super affordable. And just supporting it, with just 2x4s, that's always going to be fun. If you want to learn flat bars, that's always a good place to start. Boxes are one of the number one things to just for learning on, ride on, or all the otherwise. I don't know about you. One of the things is I've used my skateboarding boxes for snow skating, and I find that because I'll use like angle iron on the edges, and that'll cut up your board pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. I did that one season. I was like, this probably isn't the best.
I've skated like boxes with angle iron in the past. I tried just not to get on the edge. And for snow skating, I don't think it's needed. Like if you have a skateboarding box with angle iron, I think it's fine. But if you were to build a box for snow skating, I personally wouldn't recommend putting angle iron on it. Yeah.
What I do and has worked for me, you can skate if you want to if you really want to try to focus on, getting a center groove lock in on the edge of a box, it's a great way to learn. But honestly, you just build your 2x4 frame, your 2x4 vertical frame, however high you want it, and then just cross supports and then plywood. And then the edge of the plywood kind of mimics that, but it's not going to be as bad for the center groove of your board. And then one thing I always swear by is polyurethane. If you white plexi that you would find at a resort park or something like that is super expensive. I see a lot of people using it, but I've had most of everything I've done has been wood, sanded down, either spray or brush on polyurethane, super thin coats. It just, the HDPE of the Snowskate just slides really good, repels water. Only need to touch it up maybe once every 3 years, and I keep all my shit outside anyway. So, it's really great. It's a really cheap way to do it. And I think Eric can attest to it just slides really well.
It's great.
Yeah. So this season, I have even green treated wood can take if you sand it down enough. Sand it down just rough, really any kind of wood. Spray polyurethane is what I did this year just to try. It's my first time trying it. Really thin coats, did maybe 10 coats of spray. Slides great. Really, really good. In all conditions, warm or cold. It's pretty solid. Scrapes off pretty easily. But that's probably one of my big tips, because I've just about tried every affordable surface on a box. I remember one year I used fluorescent lights in office buildings, those plastic sheets that sit in them,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're kind of clear plastic. I tried that one year because those sheets are really thick and they're like a hard, clear plastic. And I thought, this will be great. So I glued them down onto this box, and then they are super brittle when they're cold. So I just shattered them.
Just broke.
Yeah, definitely. I was telling Zach too, I had this one box that was like a galvanized steel. It's like a sheet metal that was bent into a slide that I had. That's slides really well. It's hard to get ice off of, but it's a good sliding surface. Even just untreated wood, if the wood is like thick enough, pretty thick. But those are going to be your bread and butter. You can really build anything. Like I've always been the kind of person with a big scrap wood pile and lots of random shit around. So that's always my go-to is, like we were at the park, we put up a kicker. Oh, my X Games jumps. Yes. Should talk about those.
Yes, the X
Factor X jumps or X Factor.
Yeah, X
I still don't
Factor.
know what it is.
Right. No one knows if it's Factor X or X Factor. I always called it an X Factor, like every kid in my neighborhood. But
I think so. But those are just plastic jumps, and for whatever reason, they're great for snow skating. They suck for skateboarding.
Yeah.
You really can't hit anything on them that they want you to, like bikes, and like it's just way too steep of a kicker for kids. They're super dangerous. But on a snow skate, perfect.
Yes. Go
They're
on
fun,
my
but
Instagram, and there's an edit for Andrews Park and all of us skating it. If you guys are unfamiliar or haven't seen it and want to see what we're talking about with the park and skating the Factor X jump. But I mean, I was scratching my head when you were setting that up, Andrew, to be totally honest. And you set it up like on the edge of a hill too. So I was like, I was just envisioning you go to pop, you slide out, you land on your back or your shoulder or something because you have no control and you're going faster. But it actually worked. Like, I don't know if you could like do like a good flip trick or something off it. Maybe you could. I don't know, but it worked really well.
Mess with it.
Much better than I thought.
All I did is I just propped it up. I propped up the end. I put a piece of 2x4 under it just to prop it up at the right angle. And it was great.
Unfortunate thing about the X Factor jump or Factor X jump, though, it's like, it might be a lot of fun, but it's never going to help your street cred.
No,
and it's never going to help your sex appeal. It's never going to increase that either. It's never going to do a lot for you credibility-wise, unfortunately. I see one of those, and I'm like, that's a funny joke, but probably fun.
It was a major flex to pull it out at the set.
There you go.
It really was. Whoever on
to be
Instagram
clear, shout out to Riley for commenting that. I got a kick out of that.
It was.
But yeah, as fun as it was to skate, don't go out and buy one for the purpose of snow skating. We're not formally recommending it, but if you have one laying around, it's fun.
Yeah. Which somehow everyone just has one on the side of their yard. They're like, when the fuck did I even get that? Like, every kid has one somehow. I never bought one, but I had one.
Another thing too, I should mention, if you want like a good flat bar, like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, a lot of people bought those for their kids, and their kids don't skateboard anymore. Mm-hmm. You can get them for like free. I mean, like a nice, like the Element flat bar, I really like to have that one. And I think I got it for free off of Facebook or something. But like,
damn.
You can find a lot of shit. I have also in my notes here one season, because I've used like so much random shit that I find that way. So like a big like a 4-stack filing cabinet. I just tilted it on its side. Perfect box.
Mm-hmm.
Nice long really metal. Fun. Yeah, slides really well. Yeah, so that's really it for me. Is just like or one. I have another one here. A sawhorse. Right, if you want like a good kicker, I used to take a sawhorse, which was like sits like this. You put it on its side, piece of plywood over the top, just a nice little wedge, just a good kicker for learning to flip tricks off of.
Yeah, definitely. Or you can just set up the sawhorse and skate over it. I mean, you could grind on the top of it.
Yeah, that's a
couple different things you can do with it. But yeah, I mean, if you have the space, take some of these tips and build a park, even if it's just like a little jump or a box or rail or something. Like, and you might as well. You know what I mean? If you have the space for it. I mean, I'm looking at hopefully buying a house this summer, and honestly, like a yard with a smooth gradient is like one of the criteria that I'm like looking for when I'm searching for a house. To like having a backyard snow skate park would be so sick. So if you have the ability to do it, go out and do it.
Yeah, it helps. It's a great way too for learning in a safe environment where you can take a break, and it'll help your street game a lot too. Just to build on things. Yeah,
totally.
Can't recommend it enough.
Totally. Yeah, let's move on and talk about some up and coming snow skaters. There have been a lot this year, like relative to previous years. Zach, I'm sure you can attest to this. You scour YouTube for snow skating talent like nobody else I know. And this is like it's been since 2010, 2011-ish that I remember like this many good snow skaters just either starting skating or coming out of the woodwork.
Oh, absolutely. Even last year when we were running that like that flow contest that Ambition was
Yeah.
putting on, it was like, hey, send in a minute of your best clips. I was like overwhelmed because Blay let us all see it, and the whole team's like, hey, here's all the private links, like who do you guys like? And I picked out like 6 of people I really liked, but all of them were fucking good. Literally, like every submission, I was like feeling a little threatened. I was like, damn, these kids are fucking good. It's pretty wild, but I mean, it's great. I mean, it just shows that finally more people are trying it and it's progressing as a whole. I mean, I know that's evident, but to see it more in the community is even greater, like even just beyond the team riders or whatever else. But yeah, do you want to get into some people that you're hyped on right now, like some individuals?
Yeah, let's do it. I have a list here. I kind of accidentally basically made the Ambition Flow team from last year. I checked that after and realized it was most of those people, and I totally on accident. Sure. But actually, I'm not sure if the first person really fits it, but that Rafael Detienne, I'm probably saying
I have
that
the same people then.
We probably do, yeah. But that dude is so sick.
I wrote him down.
Skating at this point, and he is killing it. He did at that skate park the front shove 50 on that rail, the kickflip,
which
backboard,
is an MBD,
by
the way.
Yeah, and on
it's
that
never been done on
hubba,
a handrail. I mean,
yeah, that's
front shove
crazy.
50 for clarification. Never been done on a handrail till this year, and yeah, it's amazing. It's not that I don't think a lot of people weren't capable of it. It just hasn't happened yet till he did it.
Yeah,
so
it's a weird trick. And yeah, he was the dude skating the mini ramp, which was also something I did not think was possible on a snow skate. That had concussion written all over it the first time I saw it. Like it'd be fun to do like once or twice, but yeah, that dude kills it. I mean, if he like keeps skating, I mean, he is going to get some really good footage. I didn't know he was an accomplished skateboarder. Zach, I'm sure you follow skateboarding a lot closer than I did, but
I only know of him through snow skating, though. I was like, okay, like who is this kid? He's so good. So I clicked on it, and I'm like, oh, he's got sponsors. Like he's a really, really, like you said, an accomplished skateboarder. Also, he's not from Canada. He's from
Belgium.
Oh, I'm so wrong. Oh, Belgium. There we go. Yeah,
Belgium. Yep.
So he's new to Montreal, and he like just got into snow skating. And I can tell you, like Alex has been sending me clips of him outside of Instagram. Like he is filming, and he's pushing to film. And I am like, he's like one of the first people since maybe like the Joshes and the Daves that's like coming up, and I'm like, whoa, this guy could like change the game because he already like is.
I made that comparison.
So I'm super stoked on him, and yeah, he is on my list too for that reason.
I was actually texting Blade the other night, and I kind of said it as a joke, but I was being serious at the same time. Like nobody since Dave has like within a couple weeks of snow skating, like put out legitimate footage and you're like, oh wow, this dude's really good. So I made the joke to Dave. I was like, once every 10 years, or I made the joke to Alex that once every 10 years, man, you had Dave in 2010 and then this dude in 2020, 2021, whatever. Right. But, semi joking, but I mean, the dude is skating that well. I'm so stoked to see what else he does.
Right. I'm going to lead into, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, go for it, Zach.
More about him. I was going to pick another person, but if you have something else to say about that dude.
Oh,
please.
I just got to that dude's such a good skateboarder too. Like I was looking into him this morning because I hadn't heard of him, and I watched he had a part in the Barracks that came out in February, and the 9 Club Experience did a reaction to his part and like did like an 8-minute video walking through some of the tricks he did. It was super sick. Roger was bagging on him a little bit, but Roger's always a negative Nancy, so whatever.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Saying he was doing circus tricks, which I was super stoked on. I love that side of skateboarding. You may be a little bit more of a purist than I am, Zach, but I was super stoked.
And
but I think it's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The thing to add too is like what's awesome, especially your Ryans and your Joshes, is that skateboarding doesn't always necessarily transfer 100% to skateboarding. Like,
right.
A lot of people hit those obstacles of like my feet are cold and wet, and like they'll try it once. And it's just ultimately like a novelty, and it's really cool to see people that can kind of play both sides of it. So
totally,
yeah,
absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's why we always say you have to be kind of fucking nuts to be a snow skater. So that's the thing. Like he's amazing, and I hope he sticks it out. That's all I can say. Because a lot of people do come and go. They're like, all right, this is not my thing. Skateboarding is always consistent, and snow skating's not. So. We'll see if he sticks around, and I fucking hope he does because he's so sick.
Yeah, definitely. Zach, who's your next guy?
My next guy I picked would be – this one's like – he's mostly a newcomer. He's just like, I don't think we've gotten enough out of him but said. Cedric. He's been in. I'm gonna mess up his last name, so I don't even want to try to say it. He was in the last Ambition video, but he's fairly new to snow skating. Like, if I'm correct, I met him 2 years ago when we were filming for Encore, and it was like just very clear that he had a very solid style and he like had so much potential. And he, I feel like he dabbled with it here and there. It's like, if you can get him out, he's going to be amazing. But now this year specifically, he has been like really trying to film and making an effort towards it. And I've been seeing it from also Alex. So I'm just like, finally, like, this kid is going out there and trying to get it. And also, even in the past 2 years, his skateboarding skills
another great skateboarder,
increased by so much. Yeah, he's so good. So already, just based on his skateboarding background alone, too, I'm like, this kid, if he wants to put in the time, is going to be amazing. And his style's amazing. I'm just super hyped on him, and he's a super cool dude too. So I just really hope we can see more footage out of him.
I do too. Never met him, but love his skating, both snow skating and skateboarding. Dude's sick.
Yeah, he's the man.
Anthony Sell, another dude on the Ambition Flow
team. All the
team.
same people.
I know, we probably do, but the stuff that he's been putting out is super sick. Like his little Flow Sponsor Me tape last spring was awesome. That like wall ride thing that he did this year was super cool. Like you don't see many people doing that more snowboard style stuff. Most of the up and comers, if you will, are mostly like they're kind of contained into the skateboard world and not necessarily doing more snowboard style stuff. So it's really cool to see him like tackling some of those obstacles and just going big.
Yeah, that's like my one complaint with that dude. And I don't mean this in a negative way at all, because I love that dude. And I like pushed for him to get on the flow team even. He's so sick. He has the best style. But I wish like we could see more street footage out of him. He's always like just like to me, I look at it and I'm like, dude, this dude doesn't even have to try. He's so good. It doesn't almost even like appear like he is trying because he's that like solid. But I really wish we could see like some actual filmed street tricks out of him, because maybe he just doesn't have the opportunity or the people to do it with. Like, I wish we could get him on a trip, because I'm sure he would be like productive and produce some good stuff. So that's like, I hope he can do that someday.
See, it's funny. I didn't even think of that. And, maybe it's because I hang out and skate with Alan too much. But, I mean, they're more like kind of Alan-style natural spots. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm just straight up stoked on it. Like, if he wanted to skate street, I'm sure he could kill it and it'd be sick to see. But that never even crossed my mind with the stuff that he was skating.
He does a mix for sure. I feel like there's just a lot of backyard stuff out of him. Oh, and it's all really good. So it's like, man, get this kid in the streets. Like, he'll kill it there too. Sure. So but I'm not hating for the record, but it sounds like I might be. I just want to see him out in the streets because he's that sick.
Yeah, for sure. Another similar dude, I'm probably going to butcher this name as well, Konovalov Yaroslav, another dude on the Ambition Flow team, Russian guy. He goes big. He's like actually skating. Like, it seems like he's skating resorts. Yeah. So he's
that guy. Never mind. Yeah. He's dope.
Out of Sochi. He's like launching and like doing like flips onto rails and like shoves out and like doing proper like it did seem to be mostly resort stuff, but it was still so sick. Like the dude was sending it, to use a cliche term.
See, that's why I kind of like him. I kind of like him though for that reason. And like you look at the whole flow team and like everyone is pretty street oriented. So I think it was cool to kind of break up the mold and have someone like him who will still go to a resort and do some crazy shit. I mean, there's kind of far and few like resort riders, and it's cool that he's out there doing that and at like a pretty bbig level. Yeah, I was hyped on that dude.
Definitely.
I love seeing Russian parts too. Like, I think that's something I talked about. I just think that it's very cultural to do stuff in the winter for them, and like they have open liquor laws, I guess. So like, I always love seeing videos because they're always just a bunch of people hanging out and like drinking and hitting these spots and doing crazy tricks. Like ever since Taurus back in the day.
Yeah, the early 2010s, all that Taurus footage, him and his crew just out killing it, out drinking in the streets. It was sick.
Just going shit. It's really funny. So,
and it's a very different type of snow skating compared to the North American snow skating that we're used to, both in like the things that they skate. And a lot of those dudes are in Siberia too, right? So it's super firm, packed snow. And it just like, the way that they have to approach their spot seems to be a lot different than, when we don't necessarily get as much snow and have warmer temperatures. Yeah. And of course, just have totally different things to skate architecturally. It's just different.
Yeah. And you'd really have to be, in the States, if you bring, I don't know, like a bottle of Fireball to a spot, you're a degenerate. So, I mean, who would ever do that? I mean, who would
That's
do
all
that?
we did.
I know. Why do you think I'd say Fireball?
I know. Okay, yeah. Love it.
Oh, I love that. Zach, I guarantee I stole this off your list too. Robbie Pauly.
Sure, it's Robbie.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck,
Yeah.
he's the best, dude.
Dude.
I want to
he's-
talk about him if I could, because I know
Yeah,
him.
go for it. He's so
Not
sick.
even to be biased though. Yeah, I've skated with him a few times. He's fucking awesome. Actually never snow skated with him, just skateboarded, but he's from downstate, so he lived near
Detroit
where
area,
Dave and
right?
I did. Yeah, he's in like Metro Detroit area, so like 2 hours outside of when Dave and I lived in Kalamazoo. Well, Dave still does. But anyways, he was a dude that would like come through with a crew that we knew, and he was so insane, like watching him skateboard firsthand. And he was another person that he picked up the snow skate, and like his first edit was like him like hitting a handrail at a skate park. I remember he did like board side 270 shove on like a solid sized handrail, and I was like, oh, this kid's like, he can do it if he wants. It's there for him for the taking. And then last year he produced a bunch of good stuff, and like Ambition started reposting him, and I was definitely advocating for him. I was like, yo, this kid like is a very, very good idea to put like to send boards to and at least invest in, because he will yield results if he can, and he has the talent too. The unfortunate thing is though, he does not get snow in Detroit, just like Dave was expressing last time. So I have a bunch of good friends in his area that he could snow skate with too, but they don't get snow. So like he's unable to do it. That's why I really want to get him on a trip though too, because I know he's very promising.
Yeah, definitely. And semi-related to that, skating skate parks is not that easy. And some of the stuff that he was doing in Raphael, like I finally got a skate park in my hometown of Cloquet, and I was super stoked to snow skate it this winter. And it's just really smooth concrete, like, you know, most non-prefab skate parks are. And I was just slipping through, like getting to the bottom of that snow layer and slipping out, and board was landing and just like shooting out, you know, like skating skate parks is like really not that easy. So to see them doing some of the stuff that they are doing in a skate park, and maybe I'm in minority here, but I think that's really difficult. It's almost harder than like a street spot.
It all depends, I feel like, on the surface of the park for me.
Yeah, true.
And how slippery it is. And yeah, it's really hit or miss. The park here in Marquette's actually pretty solid if the foundation of snow is good.
Yeah, if you have that like that packed snow layer, or even a layer of ice is like not like good sounding as that is, like you're not down on that slippery concrete, and it does make it a lot easier to skate.
Right. Yeah. Did you have anyone else on your list? Those are everyone, honestly, that I had.
Yeah. Last dude that I had, and I don't know if this really counts, but John Shanahan, I got to give a shout out to that.
Oh, that was going to be mine. That was when I said, I know I'm missing one. It was him. That's another dude. He doesn't have the conditions, or he's not in the right location, but obviously has the skateboard background, like most of the people we just talked about, to be insane.
Yeah.
I am
and
super
the stuff that he
hyped on
has
dude.
done is insane. I know that he's sitting on some footage. The stuff that he put out before Christmas on the New York City Black Hubba, he almost got, what was it, kickflip, board shove out.
Kickflip.
Yeah.
Or
it was
board side
kickflip.
shove out, and then he was trying board side kickflip, and he like stuck it, but then stopped. But also the stuff, I mean, just looking at that clip
too.
Yeah, that's pretty monumental. But the thing is like the conditions he was riding in had to be like 40 degrees. It looked like it was like wet. It was
just
awful. Slush.
Just awful. But yeah, shout out to him. I don't know how much he really fits in the category up and coming, given is he pro skateboarder?
Yeah, he is.
He is.
I think he is. I don't follow him that closely, but I'm a huge fan of his snow skating.
I am too.
I mean, I am a fan of his skateboarding now, actually, just because I know him as a snow skater. I was like, dope. It's so cool to see someone with like a reputation as high up as him be giving snow skating a chance. Definitely when some people look at snow skating as kind of kooky, that dude's like, I don't give a fuck, dude. It's fun. I'm going to do it. And he rips.
Yeah, he's so sick. Yeah, that's everyone I had on my list. Zach, Andrew, anyone else?
That was everyone on mine too.
Yeah, you guys summed it up. All second to all of those guys. I mean, it's just good content all around.
John Shanahan is pro, by the way, just for the record. Yeah,
cool.
I didn't know if he was or not either, but yeah, he's pro for DGK. So
okay, thank you for fact checking our historian, Zach.
I just had to check, so I didn't know either. But
yeah, cool. Moving on to the next topic: board sales during COVID and shortages. Zach, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I got some insight yesterday. I knew we were probably going to touch on this, just because I think we were talking about how more prevalent snow skating is becoming, but not really knowing why. I mean, sure, COVID is to blame because you see it in other extreme sports too. Like I know there's like a bike shortage, skateboarding deck shortages this year. So it makes sense, I guess, to some extent, but also even just like statistically, the Instagram for Ambition has went up by so much this year too. So I think it's like a blend of both the COVID thing and just it kind of taking off. You see like more known skateboarders doing it this year too, or people that have like a bigger following, like a bunch of those like Montreal dudes, Dime dudes, things like that. It's so fucking sick. So that was like partly the reason for the shortage, but people are always also wondering like, why can't I get a board? Like, why aren't you making more? And I really wanted to like set the record straight, at least to some of the audience that we have. And I talked to Alex about it, Blay, yesterday to get like a more well-rounded, correct answer, so I don't go just like spewing what I thought it was. But basically, people also, they don't understand so that when we make the boards, Ambition makes the boards every season, it's set so far in advance. Like right now, we already have the boards for next year. All the graphics are done. We've seen them. Everything's like already pre-planned. The numbers are probably already set too. So this is even like being set up before the COVID thing was even like, no one could have anticipated that there was going to be that kind of demand. So that's partly it. And also Alex said that they did make more boards for this season than they ever had in the past, but it's also a big risk, like there's seasons probably where he would make boards and have them left over. So it's when you make a pre-planned number, it's a big business risk to be like, oh, let's just like make as many as we can. It's not smart financially,
especially for a small operation like Ambition. Right?
Right.
Like if that's your only source of income and like your only revenue is based off the boards that you sell in a given year, you can't risk sitting on, if you 30% of the boards you make, you don't sell into the next year and you have to sell at a discount. I mean, that's going to hit you huge. So they really, really have to hit that fine line. And again, it's out of their control. They're doing the best that they can and they're doing it well in advance, and you can't plan for a pandemic.
Exactly. And so then the argument is made when like, well, now the demand's there. Why don't you just make more right now? Well, also Alex tells me like the boards don't get just made and shipped immediately. They have to sit there for a month also, because everything, you don't want a piece of shit Snowskate, like, and you don't want it falling apart, delambing. So it has to like, what's the word? Like solidify for like a month or like, dry pretty much. And just, it takes longer than you think to make the board. So if you were to start making them right now too, I mean, winter's going to end pretty soon. You're running that risk of not selling these. You have to also understand that they're made at a skateboarding manufacturing warehouse where they make other skateboards. So they can't just seize production of the skateboards or whatever else this place has in schedule. So it's just not realistic, unfortunately. We all wish that we could just be like, oh shit, let's make a bunch of boards so I can get these things out there. But unfortunately, it's just not the case for a lot of reasons. And those are pretty much it.
Yeah, and manufacturing is yeah, and you detailed manufacturing very well, and this is generic not just to snow skating but also to skateboarding, but there's other elements to that as well. I mean, you have to source the raw materials. You have to get the wood. You have to get the specific type of plastic that they're using for the snow skate. You have to get your glue. You have to get all of those to your manufacturing facility. You laid out the manufacturing process, and there's transportation to the factory inbound and then outbound from the factory, right? We have to send that or from the factory. They have to get to however, Ambition or whoever, company we're talking about is distributing their boards. They have to get, if we're buying a board in America, for example, it has to go from Ambition in Canada to an American distributor, and then it has to go to us. So it's not just the manufacturing process that's holding things up.
There's so many steps, and you really nailed it with the raw materials thing. That's what Alex was saying too. So I guess to sum it all up, it takes longer than people think to make these boards, and to do that right now would be just like a really bad business idea because winter is pretty much done, and we already have next year's models already made, so we're not gonna whatever, it's just done to try to sell them next year then. And just for the record, also next year he will be making way more boards, so hopefully we won't have to see any kind of dry spell with them. So next year, pre-order anyways for anyone who's listening, because there could maybe be that risk. But from what Alex said, though, he's going to make way more boards next year, so we hopefully won't have to see that.
Totally. Yeah. And just to parallel with the golf industry, because with COVID, I mean, I'm a perfect example of like an outdoor sport. I basically became a huge golf consumer because all of my other hobbies were more or less taken away as a result of the pandemic. I've played golf all my life. I've enjoyed it casually with nothing else to do. I went 200% of my energy and financial activity into golf this year. Just played a ton, bought a bunch of clubs, all that stuff. Still obsessed with it. It's great. And I think like the golf industry, both new and used club sales is up like 40%. Rounds played year over year is up. Even with like the 2 or 3 month shutdown in the spring and early summer. So I think a lot of this, what you were saying, it's partially due to renewed interest and, legitimizing snow skating, and partially due to it being an outdoor activity. I'm in the camp that I think it's a little bit more of an outdoor activity than, legitimizing snow skating and getting more people, getting more people into it. And yeah, 40% is the figure that gets thrown around in the golf world. I wouldn't be surprised if it's, similar in the snow skating and skateboarding world. I have no idea figures on either level. But I do think that it's very much driven just the fact that people don't really have anything else to do and they want to do something outside.
I think that's the main factor too. And as a result, we're probably seeing that increase in interest and just more people trying it. But I think there also is a little bit of blend with those go hand in hand. So there's going to be rise in popularity either way, if it's just exposure through the social media or internet, but I agree. The main driving factor probably is the outdoor activity, COVID correlation thing.
Totally. All right, let's get into some other podcasting and YouTube inspirations, but let's take a quick break first. All right, we're back. That commercial break, that wasn't a commercial break, unofficially sponsored by Insight Brewing. They definitely don't pay us. But Andrew, we were drinking Insight when when you lived in Minneapolis, right next to the brewery. That was kind of a joke, unofficial sponsor for a little bit. We'd go pick up a growler and drink that as we were recording our podcast remotely. That was great.
When we did Wet Sox, that was always we'd have to get beers for it.
Yeah,
that was super fun at the old Dinkytown house.
Yeah, and we do plan to pick up Wet Sox. More will be coming this year, just a matter of when.
Matter who we get.
Yep. Yeah, you better. I'm waiting.
Yep.
We have a list. We have a great list of guests.
We do have a list. We'll get to fan questions in a second, but first, any podcasting and YouTubing inspirations as it relates to anything that you do with snow skating, whether it's, snow skating in general, your own personal projects, or as it relates to, this project doing Snowskate Overlords. Zach?
For me, obviously, it's just the bunt. I love the bunt. That's why we pretty much took the rapid fire segment. That's why when we started doing this, that was like my suggestion. And we threw in some of our own questions or some that more pertain to snow skating. But that's really the main one that comes to mind. I obviously listen to the 9 Club too, but since I've become a bunt fan, the 9 Club has taken a back seat, and I just love the bunt.
Sure.
Even if they bag on snow skating, and then one of the
do
ones
they
that
really?
Oh yeah, you guys got to listen to the episode with Walker Ryan because he's a teammate on Sovereign with Dave.
Yeah.
So they bring up, he's like, "Oh, who's on the Sovereign team?" And then when they mention Dave, one of the hosts is like, "Yo, isn't that like that insane snow skater dude?" And Dono, one of the hosts, he's like hyped on it, and he's like backing it. Walker's backing it, and the other dude, Seifa, he's like, "Man, like I'm good on it." It's like, yeah, like let's get like he was like bummed on it. So, wow, that's my only complaint about that show. I was gonna write in and try to set him straight. I was actually gonna write in and offer to give him a board, but the shortage I can't. So,
sure. Where are they based out of?
They're from Toronto.
Oh, really? Yeah, that'd be perfect.
So he was like bagging on it, and I just wanted to be like, dude, for a place that has a winter as severe as yours, you think you'd kind of understand the need for it. And I just kind of wanted to be like, hey, like this is setting the record straight. Here's what you guys are getting wrong by saying this, and if you guys want to try it, here's a board. But once I couldn't really get that, probably send him a board. I was like, I'm not going to send the email. Maybe down the road. But that's my main.
No, that's fair.
I can't really think of any other ones.
Cool. Andrew, you got anything?
Yeah, I talk a lot in Wet Sox too about being on the Premier forums or the Ambition and Icon forums back in the day. So like community is always what it's been about. People would maybe post like plans or stuff for like boxes and rails, and like I know we talk about I don't remember who it was, but who someone on the forums talked about getting those like things you put on carpet so like the office chairs can roll around, and you flip one of those upside down, and like that was like the first extreme grip I think I ever had was the teeth from those little rug holders or whatever.
Oh, like so bad.
It's so gnarly, but like that's what the community was. It was really like these things were invented, and like we had to figure out ways to or like doing base repair with like marine epoxy and stuff. Like there were all this stuff that you could get for the community and how to push snow skating. And it was just like one of those things where, but then it was really vital. And then YouTube kind of took over in an interesting way where, people post videos of their park setup, and, ultimately we'd have a pretty good culture. But one thing I wanted to talk about is how, YouTube has changed its algorithm. And now when you type snow skating, you get less actual snow skate content than you do like what I would call like YouTube content, like reviews or DIY videos on how to build a snow skate, which doesn't really help anyone.
Yeah, we got a really good fan question on that, so we'll dive into that a little further in that segment, because that's important. We definitely need to touch on that.
But no, YouTube is definitely a big like motivation for me too, to seeing what other people are doing. I feel like it's been a good platform since they took down snowpicks.net.
Snowpicks.net, yeah.
But yeah, that's a little bit of my background and like where my inspiration is, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the two biggest podcasting inspirations for me, again, I'm a general sports fan, mostly the NFL, a little bit of baseball, a little bit of hockey, but Bill Simmons does such a good job. I mean, he is the king of sports podcasting, in my opinion, and he's really the only podcast I listen to religiously. Every Monday during the NFL season, he does what's called Against All Odds with Cousin Sal. And it basically talks about the previous week of NFL games, and then they actually guess the lines, the gambling lines, for the next week of NFL games, and like make a little game out of it and talk about the gambling implications. So merges two things I like, football and gambling, big gambler. So much fun. But the rapport that, Bill has and how good he is as a podcast host, with Sal, I mean, it's the dream. Like if we could have that rapport, not saying that we have a bad rapport by any means, but I mean, the jokes that they just fire off back and forth are so good. And he's not a good, like, sports analyst by any means. Like he's not like technical and doesn't know the game that well, but he's entertaining enough to where it doesn't even matter. So definitely a big source of inspiration there. And then of course the 9 Club, I don't listen to them as much anymore, but I rep them. Like 9 Club is sick. They got me super inspired to like get involved in the podcasting world. I definitely don't listen to them as much since they started focusing on the experience. I did like the traditional 9 Club format, very biographical. If you were to listen to the Wet Sox Snow Skate podcast and ask, hey, if is this kind of rip off of the 9 Club? The answer would be yes, it very much is. And this is kind of equivalent to like a stop and chat, but they do the stop and chats very well. I don't listen to them as much as I do, or as much as I did in the past, but they still do a pretty good job. I think the dynamic of Chris as the host to guide the conversation, Roger being, the skate industry insider and super negative, and then Kelly just being the hype man. I think that dynamic works very well. And then bringing in Steezus and Jaron, they do a really good job.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, Eric, you've after doing Wet Sox and now this, like, do you feel like you've come a little longer to appreciate maybe people's on-air personalities, or do you feel like you've developed, I think, compared to when we first started, I mean, you had a pretty good idea of what, and me and Zach are musicians, so I mean, we know like performance anxiety and stuff like that. But I'm curious from you, as someone who doesn't come from like a music background, how you have developed as a host.
I'm so out of my element. I was when we started, and I still am right now. Like, I wanted to do this just because I wanted it to exist, right? Like, there's just nothing else like this in the snow skating, and like, it's not comfortable putting myself like out here like this. And I don't know, it's just something that I want to do for the love of snow skating, because we had that realization, when we met at Surly a couple of years ago and talked about this, Andrew, like we have the connections and the knowledge in snow skating to pull something like this off. So even though like it's not something that I explicitly like felt comfortable or like wanted to do just for the sake of like doing it for the sake of snow skating, I wanted to do it. Right. Yeah. If that makes sense. So again, I'm super out of my element. I try to pick up, things that I hear in different podcasts, and it's definitely, I've come to appreciate it a lot more for sure. Like listening to a Bill Simmons podcast every week, and just how he can crank out like 3 or 4 podcasts every week and have them be just top notch quality. Like the ability to guide a conversation and add insightful things is so great. So I can only aspire to be like that. I just kind of do what I can, and it's snow skating. It's not, the audience isn't that large, which actually makes things a little bit more comfortable in hosting, knowing that like it's not going to go to, tens of thousands of people. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a work in progress. And it is, even though it's not something that like I'm comfortable doing, I still do enjoy doing this. Same question back to you, Andrew. How do you feel about doing this?
Yeah, I had done friends podcasts and stuff for a while, and now being more of a host, I mean, I like both styles. Like these little overlords are super fun. I think it's way more conversational, and getting Zach in here who was the first episode of White Sox. Mm-hmm. And we even joked then, like, oh yeah, we'll just have you be our like historian. Like having Zach on has been really fun, and I love the direction it's going now. But yeah, both different sides of the same coin. And again, that's what everyone's telling me that's what almost all of our guests I think say at the end is like, thank you for doing this. There's a serious lack of content and direction in the industry, and it's just cool to yeah, like we said, like we have the connections and we've been doing this. So yeah, I'm just super psyched and glad that I can contribute in some way, because I don't have any like parts or anything. I'm not super awesome street skater sponsorship guy, but do what I can, and I'm just super happy to be involved. So, and
it sounds cliche, but it is like, it's so nice to hear like pretty much all of our guests say like, thank you for doing what you're doing. And, all the comments that we get on our posts and stuff like that, talking about how much they like the podcast. Mm-hmm. And Phil Moreau actually sent me a video last year of like some dude at a demo. I showed you this, Andrew. Like, it's great. Just this guy talking about how much he loved the Wet Sox podcast. I was like, that's so cool to hear. Yeah. Like the fact that like it's Quebecer getting out there and it's like getting people hyped on snow skating. Like you can't ask for more. Yeah. Like obviously we're not making money doing this. We're losing money doing this, money and resources, time. Right. But I don't know. It's just stoked that people enjoy it at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's really what I think we set out to do, and it's as far as that goes, I'm pretty happy with this. And if we get some of the guests that we have out there on our list would be like awesome gets, and it would really help to connect kind of where we come from with snow skating to where we're going, or like where we talk about with Zach, like where the industry is going and stuff. But yeah, it's just kind of cool to kind of unpack some of this stuff and look at it from different angles. So that's the other thing I love is like, just even doing Overlords. Like I was talking to Dave after we had him, and I'm like, that was great. That was one of probably the most technical episode of either of the podcasts that we've ever done. Right. And you just kind of went through spot by spot at Solo Fide and like unpack it. Or it'll be like when we had Josh, and it's like, we're going to talk about shoes for 40 minutes. Like, so the content is there. It's just, getting the right people and talking about it, which is cool. So
totally. Yeah. Last podcast that I have to plug that I expect absolutely nobody to listen to is a podcast called Pinball Profile. And it's like, yeah, it's this dude who's a radio host out in the New York area, or no, he's actually in Toronto, Jeff Teolis, but it's very similar. Like I view like pinball as a hobby as comparable to snow skating because it is so niche, right? Like it's just so small. So it's really interesting to hear how the host of that, Jeff Teolis, does such a good job of interviewing these small time people in the world of pinball, whether or not they're just like, a graphics designer for a game or like a rules programmer or something. And the audience is so small for something like that too. But, making that, drawing the comparison to snow skating, it's super interesting to see how they basically hype up these people that basically nobody else knows. And like, obviously people in snow skating know the people that we're interviewing, and, it goes outside of that and into skateboarding for like Josh and Dave. But at the same time, it's not that big at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So drawing parallels from that is something I find really interesting. And even though I'm plugging that, I expect absolutely nobody to go and listen to that podcast. It is a good podcast, but yeah, that's everything that I had for that subject. Let's go into some fan questions. We got a lot of good fan questions.
Love fan questions.
Yeah, let me go ahead and pull this up. I should have had this ready.
I got it right here. Yeah, I think the first question, the one about the Snowskate community, do you want to start there? I think that would, can't remember who said it.
Yeah, let's start there. Archie Skate Clips, how do you feel the Snowskate community feeling has changed since the early days until now? We've certainly touched on this in previous podcasts. The premier forums in the early early to late 2000s, and then the Ambition forums kind of taking over 2009-ish through 2012, 2013 was a really good place to, share media and just talk about various aspects of snow skating. And since there was basically a migration to social media, there was a Facebook group, the Ambition Army, which I'm still a huge fan of how that's structured. And then moving over to Instagram, it doesn't seem like we've had that same sort of discussion forum available like we did when the Premiere and Ambition, and even to an extent the Icon forums were a thing. I don't buy the fact that a forum cannot thrive in 2020 or 2021. Again, picking up that golf habit, I'm on golf forums a lot. And they're really lively, and there's a lot of good information being shared. Same thing with pinball forums. Again, super niche, but they work. So I'm not sold that a forum on snow skating could not work in this day and age. I don't buy into the fact that forums are dead. So I think that they could come back if, Blaze said tomorrow, hey, I'm going to bring the Ambition forums back from the dead. I think they could be a thing. But yeah, they certainly have changed and shifted to social media. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, and we'll dive into that a little bit further, talking about the YouTube algorithms and another fan question. But Andrew, curious your take on this.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest shift just in the industry as a whole would be from snowboarding to skateboarding. Because as I was talking about earlier, I was just watching a really early Premiere video, and these are basically pro snowboarders snow skating like they're snowboarding, to where I think now snow skating has become kind of more of its own thing and found its own identity as kind of a flux between the two. And as far as, that being the biggest change, I think to me is the technology has come such a long way from where it was, that you can actually do skateboard trips. I remember when I used to first started snow skating over 20 years ago or so, people were like, oh yeah, it's really cool, but you can't ollie on a skateboard. I'm like, yeah, you can't, because the plastic just bends. It's really hard to get pop or So that's the other thing to remember, is that the technology has come a long way, and that what we ride today and having extreme grip, and it's just it's easy to forget that, but that's just massive. Yeah,
definitely. Zach, what's your take?
I'm bummed. No, it's bittersweet to me. I'm just bitter because those are my favorite times in snow skating. So I reflect on that, and I'm like, man, the Premiere Farms are so fun. Everyone was so active. Everyone's like you post a video now, let's say in the Ambition Lords thing, which is, it's an attempt at creating something that once was, and I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it's there. But, you post a video and no one's even going to say anything probably. There might be some likes on it. But there's not any genuine discussions or reactions, it feels like, anymore. So it kind of sucks. But at the same time, because we have things like Instagram to kind of take its place, I'm able to probably see more snow skating content than I ever. So
right,
I guess they kind of outweigh each other almost in a way, but I really do miss the Premiere Farms. And I agree that it'd be cool to maybe at least make an attempt. Maybe no one would care anymore, but like you said, you see it working in other platforms or through other mediums. So I know it's not impossible. And I would, if it were to try and happen outside of Facebook, I would definitely try to be an advocate of it and try to be a component in that. I would participate, is what I'm getting at. So that's really mostly my take, I guess.
Yeah. And I did misspeak a little bit earlier too, talking about YouTube being another fan question. Let's dive into how the YouTube algorithm does kind of mess things up when it comes to finding snow skate content. Zach, you want to take this one?
Why do you want me? Because my friend's a YouTuber or what?
No, that's not why.
I mean, I talked about this.
Yeah, that's another one.
The algorithm.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
The algorithm sucks. It fucking sucks. I love Sam Tabor so much. He's one of my good buddies. And but it is, I feel unfortunate that a lot of great snow skate content begins getting overshadowed by people who are major YouTube stars or just users, I guess, and it's not just Sam. I'm not saying that. Actually, he has a lot of videos that I'm glad are at the top of the list, like the one that describes the difference between a skateboard deck and a snow skate. That's needed, and if it can reach the audience anyway, even if it's via kind of the vlog format, then that's great. I love it. But then at the same time, there's other videos that are just how to make a snow skate. And it's no, we don't fucking need that. They don't work, first of all. We don't need those videos. And then it's overshadowing a part or maybe just a a great snow skate park. Like I'm trying to find like some snow skate videos from the past that I love, and I'll type it in verbatim, and it's like, here's a bunch of things you should watch. I'm like, no, I shouldn't. I don't need these. So it's a lot. It's good and bad. For the record, I'm not by any means bashing Sam. I'm so glad he's able to reach more people than we ever could have, and and he loves it. He genuinely loves it.
He does.
I wish he had the chance to do it. So it's like not like that. I'm just saying like it's unfortunate that it's almost overpopulated with those types of videos. So it's like, you know, I get that some of them are going to be up there with the algorithm, but I wish it wasn't just all those. I wish it could be blended in and be, I guess, reviewed maybe first, because some of it's unneeded. So it's I don't know.
The impression that I get just, you know, YouTube search Snowskate is that it's really a novelty. It's a lot of people like unboxing a Snowskate, first time on a Snowskate.
Yeah.
What's, you know, making a DIY Snowskate. And it's just like those kinds of those. There's actually a lot of people that are doing that. And it really just novelization. It makes a novelization of the sport and kind of delegitimizes other people doing it. So that's frustrating. And yeah, and I think that it's until I remember like maybe 10 years ago, that wasn't even in the YouTube dialogue of doing like an unboxing or anything. Like those wouldn't be videos that you would see. So, or at least in snow skating. So you would just type in snow skate, you could actually see like a Ross Knowlton part or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like actually people that are doing good independent content that aren't on teams, that are maybe, you know, they get a snow skate for a year and they're maybe like a sponsored skateboarder, but they just have like maybe every year they'll release a snow skate part. And there was a lot of skaters that did that. And you could find those on YouTube pretty easily, but now you really got to dig for them.
It just sucks that unless you play the YouTube game and you do the clickbait title and you put the cover image that's flashy and whatever you know, that you do, like the classic, you know, popular YouTube style, your stuff just gets overlooked. Like if you're not uploading a ton of content and you're not basically catering to what YouTube wants to see. And some of that's on the viewer as well. Like obviously people are watching these videos with the likes and, you know, views that these videos ultimately get. But yeah, it sucks that unless you're playing that game, then you kind of get screwed. And a good parallel is one of the golf channels that I watch, Tour Experience Golf. Nobody listening to this podcast probably plays golf except Jeremy Manson, but their most viewed video is an unboxing video, and they put it up as like a one-off, and they've openly talked about it. They're like, this is dumb. Like, this is so stupid that like our most viewed video, with how like deep we go technically and how passionate we are about this, our top viewed video by a long shot is an unboxing video. And that's just the nature of YouTube, and it sucks. So, you know, maybe there's a better forum, not necessarily explicitly a forum, but maybe there's a better place for this content going forward. I don't know.
Right. I'm willing to bet Sam would say the same thing though too. And again, I can't reiterate how many times I'm not hating on him. Like he helps out tremendously. I love him, but I'm guaranteed he would say the same thing. He'll look at his probably most viewed videos and be like, really? Like that's the one? Like he'll put so much work into other ones or maybe more skate oriented ones. And he said many times too, his favorite videos he likes to do are the skateboarding and snow skating ones that are like just have skating in them, because he's a skater. That's who he is. So I'm sure it is a little bit defeating when like his most popular video then is like what he knows will work and probably make him money, honestly, is like these other kind of things. And those are the ones that rise to the top. But at heart, he wants probably the skateboarding stuff too, just like we do.
Yeah, the thing to remember too is that the average user age of a YouTuber is 13. So I mean,
right.
Good point. Yeah,
that makes a lot of point. That's why they love the flashy titles and the things that grab you. So
yeah,
makes sense.
And Zach, I'll reiterate what you're saying as well. Like, I'm not hating on the individual. You know, Sam Tabor, Johnny Geiger, like any of those dudes that are making content that kind of overlaps into the snow skating world. You know, they're making money doing what they love, and I can't hate on that. But they're doing it in a way that unfortunately, like, it kind of bogs down the experience for everybody. And it's not their fault. Like, they're doing their thing. They're doing what they're passionate about, and they're doing it in a way that works for them. That's cool. But, you know, we kind of get screwed at the end of the day because we're bogged down with that sort of content and not the, you know, quote unquote, real snow skate content that we want to see. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And they're both good skaters.
No, they are too. Again, I'm not hating on them as individuals, anything like that.
Right, for sure. I mean, you know, Sam, he's a fucking awesome dude. And I've only met Johnny like on the trip once. Great fucking dude too. I like both of them. I can't say enough kind things about them. Yeah. As much as I watch YouTube, like the world of YouTubers is still just so weird and off-putting for the most part.
You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
like
for
general
sure.
vlogs and stuff. Like, I don't get the appeal, but maybe I'm an old fart at this point.
That's why
I
it's
don't know.
it's so easy to hate on those dudes too. But then like when I go down there and I hang out with like the Revive guys through Sam, who I met them, like Andy Schrock and all those other guys, great fucking dudes and just skate rats. They are. They get so much hate, but they're skaters and they're awesome dudes. Very generous, very welcoming. Those guys are all like really kind dudes, and I'll always defend them. I don't care what people say about them.
I think there's something I just want to touch on this thing because it's a very similar thing in skateboarding and snow skating that people in extreme sports get very defensive about their sport being misrepresented.
Totally.
And it's, or like, you know,
For sure.
calling out posers is a really easy thing to do. But I think one thing that Phelps said that always stuck with me is that skateboarding doesn't owe you anything. And that's really something I try to keep in mind when I see these people that are using skateboarding or snow skating to satisfy some sort of YouTube content that's just ultimately going to get them views, and ultimately is just for some 13-year-old in Ohio that's not even the skateboarder or whatever, and like looking at you braille skate, but you know that's what it is. It's really like nothing to get mad at, and like ultimately, they're just good skate rats, and like, but you know, it's everyone's sport. So, but yeah, I agree.
At the end of the day, it's never going to ruin anyone's skateboarding experience.
Yeah.
No one's like out skating like this is fucked. This doesn't work anymore. I don't know. It's never like just go fucking skate. God.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's probably more of an answer than you wanted, Archie skate clips, but you got it.
Oh fuck! I forgot we're doing questions. Damn it. My bad.
All right, moving on. Anthony Sell asked Zach about the story where you met snow skaters from wearing your Friday shirt. I think you touched on that in your wet socks, but give us an overview of that again.
Yeah, let me get it, dude. Now we have video. I'll be right back.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see it.
It's gonna get it. It's gonna be great.
Oh, this is a throwback.
Yeah,
I never had any Premier clothing. I wish I had Premier clothing.
Oh, I don't think I did either.
So tight.
Man,
I can't hear you guys. I'm sorry. Did you guys say something?
That's so tight.
Yeah. So this is probably from about maybe 2005. I think 05 or 06. It's kind of ripped. It's too small. It doesn't fit anymore. But when I first got into snow skating in middle school, I would wear this every Friday. I was like obsessed with snow skating. And this was my Friday shirt. Like kids in school were like, oh, wearing your Friday shirt. Fucking stupid. Anyways, I was wearing it that night to the movies with a friend. And when we left the movies, there was some kids playing pinball. Like when we left the theater, there was like some kids out in the commons area playing a video game. And I don't know, they just kind of looked like skaters. I was just like so obnoxious as a kid and just like whatever. And I went up to them and I like jumped on the pinball machine or something. I was just like trying to like fuck with these kids or whatever. I was just like trying to get a rise out of them or something. And then one of them like saw my shirt and he's like, wait, you snow skate? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, do you guys snow skate? And they're like, yeah, like we fucking love snow skating. And it happened to be Neil Berg was one of them who ended up going on to Snowskate for Icon later. And my other buddy, Timmy Jenkins, who had a good run in snow skating, probably stopped after a few years, but he ripped to like tray flip stairs, whatever else. Like they were way better than me. But yeah, then later on, I mean, we were all good friends for so long now. And obviously me and Neil are still such good friends. We play in a band together and he still snow skates too. So that was how I met those guys through the shirt. Did exactly what I wanted it to do.
Love it.
That's funny.
All right. Dave Enger, Justin Majeski episode. Great idea. He's on the list.
Yeah.
Fucking hope so.
Yeah, that's one I've been looking forward to.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Great dude.
Germ Paquette, please discuss various grip layouts and do some layouts work better for flip tricks? Great question. Mm-hmm. And this actually, we're going to make a post. It actually may be up by the time that this podcast drops, like showing various snow skaters extreme grip layouts. But what I typically do for I guess it's kind of hard to see, and especially because I have these the green or yellow strips or whatever, is I cut them into strips of 2 and 3, and I put them on the edges and then in the middle. And then it's pretty dark. I'm not sure if you can see this, and I'm sorry for anybody listening who obviously can't see anything. But I do cut up the tail pieces as well. With the Tundra Grip tail pieces, they do tend to get a little bit wider. You do need to make them a little bit wider because they are a little bit skinnier relative to the tail shape. So you kind of need to do a little zigzag cut and then make them a little bit wider. So that was actually classic extreme grip in the middle and then Tundra on the tail. For the the board where it's all Tundra grip, I kept them in the strips because I don't trust it not to peel, frankly. And it even has been peeling a little bit. This may just be my experience. And also, to be fair, I am skating Vans MTEs, which just absolutely wrecks grip, both the foam and the grip that you are the extreme grip or the Tundra grip. Yeah, a couple different strategies. Andrew, do you want to go into your preferred?
Yeah, no, you touched on everything. I break up the tail here.
Oh, I like that.
So I can get it to the edges, because that does come in handy. I skate Tundra now. I took me a while to get used to, but this season I really like it. So yeah, having it right here kind of in the pocket too, that helps a bit. And then one thing that Dave was touching on that is absolutely true, here I can turn my light a bit, is having it staggered. Having it in a line up like this just gives your foot more opportunity to catch when you ollie. This is a super basic layout. I don't really go super heavy on the grip. I mean, I like having it center. And then up here on the pockets just to catch flip tricks, and then just a little bit here for noses and other stuff here. So not super crazy. A pretty conservative layout, but yeah.
And a call out, it's important to know that if you're skating your board backwards, or if you skate switch or fakie a lot, that for the most part, like a grip setup that you just showed, Andrew, works just fine. But like I'm skating fakie a lot, and I realized that I need a relatively symmetrical grip setup and just as much grip on the tail as I do in the nose and like the middle zones of the board, because I am riding the boards backwards so frequently. So it does depend on your needs. If you're riding it forward 99% of the time, then put most of the grip in like the middle and the nose, and then just a little bit on the tail where your back foot's going to be, you'll probably be fine. But if you know you're going to be skating fakie and switch, then try to make it as symmetrical as possible.
Yeah, and I recommend getting the sheet and just cutting it yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Figuring out what you like. The pre-cuts are cool, but if you just get the sheet, it's a little more. But I mean, I've had the same sheet. I have the old style and the Tundra, and I just kind of cut what I need. And you can always, also I say this a lot too, but it works really well. You can take the old extreme grip from boards and just use Super 77 spray adhesive and reapply it. So.
Yep, spray adhesive, and you can also use a staple gun to put pieces of extreme into your board. Obviously, you have to deal with the staples if you ever want to, move it to another board, or if you don't want to deal with that, it's on that board forever. But also an option if you really need grip to stick and spray adhesive isn't working.
Yeah.
Zach, any opinions on X grip layouts?
I think you covered it mostly. I like to point out that with the nose and tail piece, I always cut them so I can get it closer to the edges of the board. It's very crucial for me when you're putting your foot on the tip of the tail and that sort of thing. And also just in general, I never keep my grip as it comes. I have to cut it up and lay it out. That's pretty much what I would give the most advice. Oh, actually, one more thing. I think he asked, is there one? I think he said, there you go, exactly how you cut it down the middle, like you said, the little wave, and then spread it out more towards the edges. But he also mentioned, did he say something about like what is more conducive to flip tricks or something along the lines of like what might be better? So layout, I feel like, is all personal preference with how you flick, but amount is something to be considered, because when you have something like Tundra, I put more Tundra grip on my big boards where I don't flip it as much, where when my flip trick boards, I use less of it because I don't want too much grip. It'll stick to my kick flips, and kind of like Eric touched on it for a second, he is having trouble with his kick flips, and I'm sure that was partly the reason, was the grip. So something to also keep in mind. But
definitely get as much grip toward the tip of the tail as you can possibly get. And you'll see I have a staple in here as well as it started to peel up a little bit. I cut it up and I made sure that little piece that I put on was as close to the tail as possible. If that piece comes out, I'm going to replace it immediately. Like this zone, like these few studs on the very tip of your tail are the most important zone of grip on your snow skate. And you see this board's kind of beat up. Actually, my MTEs carved out the Ambition logo, and see I'm missing a little bit of foam on the tail and had to throw a staple in here. So this board's been used a little bit, but it's fine. I mean, just basic snow skate maintenance. You can staple, re-adhere, and good to go. Next question relating to this is snow skate shoes. We definitely touched on this on the Josh podcast as well, but the MTEs. And now that we're on video, I can show this as well. The MTEs do have the reverse waffle. As you can see, they extrude from the base. Is that a word? I think that's a word.
Convex versus a concave. Sir,
Yeah. Protrude.
Maybe
Yeah,
the
I think
Protrude.
so.
Is extrude the same thing? I don't know, but protrude.
I don't know, but so I realized that I was skating that kicker the other night, couldn't do a kickflip. Like I would try a kickflip with these and it would, I wasn't even skating the Tundra grip either. But it would like either fling like 10 feet out in front of me, or it would stick to my foot and just like come up with me and I couldn't get any separation, like an actual flick, or it would turn like 90 degrees sideways and like do a little hard flip. And like, that's not even a trick I have. Like I'm definitely not doing that on purpose. So what I want to do is the normal skate highs, which do not have that pattern. They just have the standard Vans waffle that,
they
don't.
Some.
Oh yeah, I just have these like sitting around, like I'm planning on skating them. I was just wearing them to work or whatever.
I've had that pair.
So I'm gonna try those snow skating and see if I can actually do a kickflip. Like I've thought like, oh, I'm just not that good at kickflips over the last couple of years, but maybe it actually is my shoes, and I'm not really thinking about the MTEs because nobody else skates MTEs. It's me and like just Mimi, isn't it?
I skated MTEs for a long time.
Okay, you had them too?
Mine just the part on the thing where it wraps around and then the waffle grip goes under, that came apart. And I had been gluing it together, and then ultimately the jeopardy that just was too much water was getting in, so I had to toss them. But I mean, I had them for like 8 years, I feel like. Yeah.
But to back up from just the nuances of the MTE, the shoe that you skate depends on what you're trying to do. So Zach, you're trying to do flip tricks, you're not going to want to skate an MTE. If you're not really trying to flip your board and you just want to have grip, put a bunch of Tundra on the top of your board and then get a pair of Vans MTEs and you'll have all the grip in the world. Like I have Tundra grip on my big board, the Phil Moreau size, and then the MTEs, and like for ollies, it's incredible. It just sucks up to my feet. It's great, but could I do a kickflip on it? Nope.
Do you know anyone who even skates the MTE that's like a more like, even like as far as the ambition team goes, or any more like established snow skaters? Actually, you mentioned Jess, but Jess doesn't. He skates the but he skates.
I'm the only one. I don't know anybody else then. I think I'm the only one
as well. So
it's telling that maybe it's kind of a garbage shoe for snow skating.
So
I've been in denial the longest time just because I haven't wanted to change.
I've tried them. Josh has tried them. Dave's tried them. Not for me.
I will keep the Snowskate Source community updated as I start to try out different shoes and see how it goes.
Try to venture out.
Yeah.
But yeah, going along with that question, I actually got a DM that said, has there ever been a snow skate shoe just for snow skating? That's been probably, like, oh, this is a snow skate shoe. It's marketed as such. And honestly, the ICO maybe considerably might have been kind of marketed. There's a promo in some of the old Premiere videos where the ICO was like a snow skate shoe, but did Vans ever claim it as one? I like to think they probably. I'm willing to bet they probably didn't. There's just not. It's a niche thing, like we said all night, and to be short with it, I don't think there's ever been a snow skate shoe specifically solely for snow skating. It's been like, I'm sure the people who make these winterized shoes understand it's smarter just to market it as a winterized shoe, but understand that snow skaters probably will pick up on it.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a quick break and then come back to shoe discussion.
Yeah.
All right, we are back from our designated Zoom break. Andrew, do you want to go into your shoe preferences and stuff you found over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I touched on it on Josh's episode for sure, and that was a really good talk. But like, as someone who's been, I think we've all kind of been looking for like a great, perfect shoe for snow skating. So I've tried, almost every brand's version of an MTE. And for the last 2 seasons, I've been skating the Etnies Jefferson MTEs. They have I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to try to hold it up, but the 3M Thin Silhouette. So it's a collab with 3M, Minnesota company. So you like that. Warm, insulated. And their tread too is really solid. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh yeah. It looks similar to the MTE.
Mm-hmm. But it's, the key to remember too with looking for snow skate shoes is the sole of the shoe is not only where you lose the most heat in your foot, but it's also if too much snow gets packed into your shoe, like a traditional skateboarding waffle or something where if it's cold enough and it just sticks, that's going to be making your foot cold, and it's going to make it so you can't really, you're just going to be sliding around on the board. So you want something good with a tread that doesn't hold snow as well as is extruded like the MTE, so it has good grip and stuff. So these are really solid. these I gotta say are probably as close as to what I've had that I would call like a designated snow skating shoe because of that
Sure.
free insulate too. I think it's a good effort. So shout out to
So-
Etnies if they want me to be a rider. You know, I'm open.
By the way, they are the Jameson as well. I think you might have said Jefferson, not to try to correct you, but in case anyone wants to look them up and can't find them, they are the Jameson.
I was reading the tongue because I couldn't remember, and I think they did a Jefferson MTE too because mine says Jefferson.
Oh, well then maybe I'm wrong.
Oh,
I had a
well.
Jameson at one point, but
I'm familiar with the
maybe
Jameson
I'm wrong.
too.
I'm sorry.
But,
Yeah, let me look at it again.
but Zach, did you find what Andrew was saying? Getting snow stuck in the bottom of the waffle sole, like, is that a problem with the skate highs?
Definitely.
Oh, okay.
It definitely is. I mean, no, he's not wrong. But I mean, look at it. Yeah, it's going to get – that's why snow conditions are so crucial for me too when I'm wearing a shoe like that. If I have snow caked in there, it doesn't matter how much grip I have. If it's like salted snow that really packs in there, I'll just slide all over the board whether or not I have a lot of extreme.
And
Some
that's a
spots I just
benefit
can't
of the MTEs is even on like really bad grip days, I just give a couple kicks on the ground and get most of that snow out. And even if there's snow on my board, I still have the ability to like have some grip and ollie. Whereas if I was skating a normal skate shoe, I may not. So the answer to the question, I mean, it's nuanced. It really depends on your needs. Like, do you want maximum grip or do you want the ability to flip your board? And ideally, what I'll probably end up doing is, you know, skating the MTEs for when I need more grip, and then the skate highs when I actually want to like do kickflips and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't get stuck in there. I mean, tap your snow skate on the side of your shoe or whatever and get it out, or kick a wall or something, or stomp on the ground. It'll come out, but it does wedge up there pretty easily. So be mindful of the conditions you're riding in.
But yeah, same too about losing heat in your foot, because I noticed that in colder conditions, you know, I think the MTEs do make a difference, but then also, the thin slit is a good idea too. But
yeah, important to call out too that if you find a shoe that you like and it's not like, it doesn't come waterproof like the Vans MTEs, or I think those the Edney's Jeffersons did, you can buy a water repellent and spray that on the outside of your shoes. I know Alan was doing that for a while. I think Zach, you do that with your skate highs
I do
too,
it. I just did it the other day. Yeah.
Okay. What is the name of that product?
I have a 3M one, so
okay.
I don't remember the name. It's just like a 3M water repellent. Buy it at like any standard store,
like a hardware store, something like that.
Yeah, even just like a Walmart or a Meijer or something. Even
Okay, Meijer, that's regional, Zach.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Not gonna help some people out.
Any kind of what do they call, like a superstore would have it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Or
and your Home Depots and stuff. I'm sure it has.
Sure.
But
yeah,
for sure. All right, Elisa for pizza. What advice would you give to aspiring female snow skaters? Really good question, and something that I really don't know how to answer, honestly. Other than, you know, keep skating, you know, keep filming, keep shredding. Big shout out to Cece. I don't know her last name, but you snow skate with her, Zach?
Yeah. She's new to it, and
she's so
in my
good.
opinion, she's
sick.
I don't know if it's like mean to say this, but I think she's the best female snow skater there's ever been. Not to talk down to any other ones. There's been a few in the past that are awesome. They're sick. Mm-hmm. I don't have advice for this person, but just please do it. We need more female snow skaters.
Absolutely.
I want to see so many more. I know, it's my favorite. So when someone like Cece comes around, it's fucking awesome, and she's so hyped on it. Last night she was like sticking tray flips off the kicker, board slide, shoving the whole flat bar ollie on, not ride on. Like, she's legit. Trying to get her to get a handrail this year. Yeah,
hell yeah!
I'm very stoked on her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a male. I don't really have advice other than, you know, keep skating, keep shredding. And honorable mention to Lisa Fowler and
she's dope.
Anastasia from Anastasia from Alaska back in the day. Haven't heard anything from her for a while, but she killed it. She held it down.
For sure.
I would just say get your content out there and just don't. I would just give the same content to anyone. Get it out there. And don't novelize the sport. Just put out your parts. Do what you can. Don't try to stay away from any, like, you know, unboxings or how-to DIY stuff like that. And just, you know, put out a legitimate part in the right channels. You know, get the Snowstake hashtag. Just put yourself out there, and we're all waiting.
Totally. Yeah, we're all stoked. And if anyone hates, fuck them. Honestly, they don't have a place in snow skating. Andy Berman, the Bachfather. Would you rather film apart buck naked or film apart barefoot with Tundra grip?
See, I was confused by that question because if you're buck naked, you're not wearing shoes anyways, right?
Oh, interesting point.
But if we're going off of you're just completely naked with shoes on or the Tundra grip without shoes on,
I think we have to go off that assumption.
I'll do full naked with the shoes on. Fuck it.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Look really silly, but let's do it.
My answer is I would switch to cross-country skiing.
Yeah. I put my foot, I like have my snow skate up here and I had my foot on my extreme grip. I do not like that. I have very sensitive
It'd be
feet.
awful. It'd be awful. Yeah, you can't win in that situation. Trilla Brandon, what is the Snowskate land speed record? I don't know this.
I'm curious.
I want to set it or break it if it already exists, whatever it is.
For whatever reason, I feel like Alan has it. That's all I feel like.
Yeah.
He probably does, yeah. And it probably wasn't even filmed. It probably just him bombing a hill some night and just ripping down.
And it's just icy, and he just he just hit it. Actually, you know what? That could have been his part when he comes down the slide. That Squirrel Clinton, yeah.
Oh yeah,
might have been.
I thought that too, Andrew.
That might be the steepest surface I think anyone has ever gone down, or maybe is Ender and Sava.
Yeah,
that's a really cheap one. The red ledge, yeah. I mean, just in terms of speed record on an obstacle, I think it's got to be one of those two, and those are both Alan's. So I mean,
yeah,
and that's very much his style. Like he's a wheel skate.
Oh yeah, totally. Dude's like Sonic, dude. He goes fast.
Yeah, he's got good push.
All right, Jeremy Banson, why is Josh Oakes the worst? Zach, I'm going to give you this one.
Oh, fuck. We're going to have to do a whole podcast episode on that. No, he's not the worst. And he's the best, actually, unfortunately. He's the best. It sucks. He's too good. Next question.
Phil Moreau had at least 6 questions.
Yeah, there's 2 that need to be said at least, though.
Yeah. Is Snowskate lame? I don't think so. I don't think we'd be doing this podcast if Snowskate was lame.
Objectively, it is, but no.
Are we nerds? Probably.
Sure.
Yeah. Am I a nerd? Referring to Phil? No, I don't think so. I don't think I'd call Phil a nerd.
I mean,
nah, he's more of a goon. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
He has
goon in like the
farm,
best of ways.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a nerdy thing.
It's so sick though.
Yeah.
He actually does produce the best maple syrup. It's so good.
Yeah. Damn, we're not even going to get into our rapid fire questions. Now Phil's going to think I hate him. He's like my answer to everyone.
Yeah, I'll have to say that for another podcast. Will my kids grow up normally if I snow skated during pregnancy? Phil, you're fine. Trust me. You know, I'm not a doctor, but
no, they're probably
I was
traumatized. Like bouncing around and shit. Can't be
if I had to like pick best dads, Phil, you would be my number 1 draft pick. And like, if I was choosing dads, like, no, your kids are fine, Phil. Another would you rather?
Let's see.
You have to choose old slow boards for the rest of your life or only super salted spots. Again, I think my answer is I'm going to switch to cross-country skiing and not snow skate anymore if those are my only 2 options. Zach, what do you feel?
I'd be miserable.
Yep.
I'd be so fucking over it, but I would pick the slow board if I had to.
I would actually pick the salted spot.
I'd go slowboard. I'd get my Jason Borgstead Premier model out. Go back to that.
Nice.
Go back to that weird plastic that they had that like didn't slide very well. Only if the temperature was just right. That's what
I couldn't do it. Skating
Very
slowboards
true.
is so frustrating.
Yeah, but skating a salted board, it's like I'm just gonna rack or skate at a salted spot. I'm gonna rack like every fucking rail ever. So there goes that. Can't even like bring a flip trick with me. I have no grip. So at least I think I have a better chance. Actually, I don't know. That's a hard one, but I'll pick the board.
Okay,
Again.
that's fair. More serious note: who are the new kids to watch in the snowskate biz? We already addressed that. I've seen David Gravett and Chris Cole commenting on snowskate posts. Are they going to snowskate? I wish I knew the answer to that question. I did not know that they were commenting on snowskating posts and were hyped on it. I don't know if you guys know anything about that.
I mean,
just saw it.
Yeah, I bet Gravett would because he lives up in Washington and like they get snow up there, and he's always like kind of fool around.
I wish I knew. I hope they'll snowskate. But
yeah, that'd be cool. Dave
In the
Gravette's
past-
probably my favorite style. Honestly, he's one of my favorite skaters. I think his style is really what I had his first pro model on Creature when it came out, and like his style is always, and his pro debut part's really good too, and his Heshlaw part is really good too. But yeah, he's a good.
I love Gravette, for sure.
I'd love to see him pick one up. I don't know how much of his style would transfer to snow skating, but I would really love to see that because he is like just such a gnarler, you know.
Oh yeah, he's one of my all-time favorites, to be totally honest. But going in the past, honestly, when bigger names or pros would express interest even via social media, Blade was always really good about sending him aboard. So maybe if it was not this season, he would have sent David one. And to touch on something I don't think anyone probably knows in terms of pro skateboarders trying snow skating, Clint Walker was sent aboard years ago, and there's footage of him that no one's seen. I think I have it on my hard drive. Backlips. Hey, like backlips like an 8-stay rail. Back 50s. It like he was so fucking good at it. And the clips were just, he like sent them to Dave, just like, hey man, thanks for the snow skate. Backlipping a handrail. He's so good at it. And these clips didn't get used for anything, but just to set the record straight, like that's one pro that tried it and fucking ripped at it. So I think David Gravette would too. Like he was saying, he's a pretty adventurous seeming guy, and I think he would definitely be down to try it. He doesn't seem like he'd be like, oh, that shit's kooky. I think he would actually enjoy it. Wish we could send him aboard.
Andrew, I think we touched on this in a Wet Sox last year, but you remember when the Baker boys were out in Colorado and they were riding snow skates?
Yeah,
they were not good.
I know. It's not 100% that they transfer, and a lot of people can't get over some of the limiting issues. Like the pop is different, and the tracking is definitely an issue for skateboarders because you don't have the rockability of it, and like it'd be like just skateboarding super tight trucks all the time, I guess would be how you compare it.
It was funny. Neen Williams did a heel flip on flat, and it was the same style that he usually pops like 2 feet in the air, and it just like barely got off the ground with just that crazy flick. And,
I loved that. Yeah.
And then Beagle, Beagle just looked like he was skateboarding, and Beagle's like one of my favorite humans, like across the board, like skateboarder, filmer. The music that he makes is so sick too. Like I'm just such a big Beagle fan, and him on a snow skate actually looked like he does when he skateboards too. It was pretty sick.
I'd say, I don't know if this is a thing, but I'm going to put this out there, but probably one of the most interesting styles I'd like to see kind of pushed into snow skating would be someone like Day One, or, that just have a really unique, very technical style, but a lot of very technically skilled tricks in snow skating, because that would be a complete departure. I mean, that'd be like Rodney Mullen on a snow skate. It'd be like crazy.
Oh, for sure. As far as that goes, we were kind of talking about Ross Knowlton earlier in the episode. Yes. Sometimes he would touch on a little bit of Day One style stuff. He'd set up some homemade stuff, some really like unconventional tricks that kind of flew under the radar. I won't even call them circus tricks. They were just sick.
They were so cool.
Yeah, I just rewatched his 2014 part, and there's a lot of I would say the same thing.
He's so sick. Going back to pro skateboarders, though, I don't think a lot of people remember that Tony Hawk was plugging snow skating back in 2015. Do you remember when he was sharing the Saba teasers before the premiere? I feel like a lot of people people don't remember that, or nothing really came of that. But yeah, Tony Hawk was actually plugging Ambition for a little bit. That was so sick.
I want to message, I want to DM him on Instagram and get a confirmation. Because remember when we had Max Hilty on, and he had that story that it was like, he was at a premiere demo and like Tony Hawk was there. I really want to would love to just get like a blurb of him snow skating's dope. Like, I mean, it's just crazy.
Totally. And his 9 Club Stop and Chat that came out like a week or two ago was so good too. I don't know if you guys have listened to that.
I just finished it today.
He's just the coolest dude. Like, he does his thing. He's obviously so good at skating, but he's still he's a real skateboarder at the end of the day. And it's so refreshing. Like, it's almost surprising for somebody that's been around that long and is that quote unquote corporate to be that cool in skating, you know?
Yeah. If you don't like Tony,
he really had the perfect,
seriously, he's the best.
He kind of had the perfect ascension. I mean, coming out of Animal Chin and what he made skateboarding. I mean, you can, Zach, I know you follow that Instagram, like, I think it's called Fuck Advertisements.
Oh, definitely.
There's like
the best.
out of context pictures of Tony Hawk at like these like corporate events. Like,
Yep.
he's just like there, and I'm like, what, so random.
Those are great.
Those are so funny. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Dead Bogan, what is your hardest wipeout while snow skating? We'll go into this when we do our not so rapid fire questions episode. We thought we were going to get to it today, and we're already at over 2 hours, so we're going to save that for another episode.
Yeah. Shout out to Dead Bogan. That's my coworker at Surly Brewing. Shout out.
Oh,
Surly
sick!
Brewing.
Hell yeah.
Oh, nice.
Are
we going to call him? Are we going to call them not so fire rapid or not so rapid fire? Whatever you just said, is that the official name of it now?
I use it interchangeably because they're kind of rapid fire questions, but they end up not being that quick. So I call them not so rapid fire questions.
I think, that should probably be the official name of that segment then. it's probably going to remain like that throughout the rest of them. So
they are going to take a long time. And I've only listened to like half of a Bunt podcast when they go through like their question list or whatever. And I need to listen to a couple more to like better understand how they do it. But yeah, the couple of ones that we've done have not been quick. So it's probably going to stay not so rapid fire questions.
Yeah, I like it like that though. I like to hear the insight.
I do too.
So.
Yeah, we can definitely go deep. And if you're listening to a Snowskate podcast and you're already 2 hours deep into this one, you're probably in it. So that's probably okay with you.
Yeah. Just start another puzzle in the tabletop. Just, keep doing your thing, or whatever people do when listening.
Yeah, put the coffee on.
Yeah.
All right, last question we'll take from NH Snowskating. Is ambition technically a monopoly? Well, you asked an economics major in college, so the Merriam-Webster definition of a monopoly is exclusive ownership through legal privilege, command of supply, or concerted action. I don't see any evidence of Alex or Ambition doing any of this. Now, if Blay was, putting out a price on people's heads, when they were trying to start a snowskate company or something and threatening them out of the marketplace, yes, the answer would be true. Actually, though, all joking aside, Premier did have their patent on a snowskate in the early 2000s. They didn't seem to enforce it, and I think that they let it expire. However, if they would have enforced that patent and not let other snowskate manufacturers enter the marketplace like Ambition and Icon, then yes, that would have been a monopolistic situation had Premier continued making boards and held onto that patent. So NH Snowskating, the answer is no, Ambition is not a monopoly.
Technically. It sure feels like it, I'll be honest.
It's super bizarre to me too, because Ambition's the only company making single decks, but then you look at like bi-decking and there's so many like shops and companies that do it. It's really two completely different markets where you have like so many different styles of hinges and skis and stuff for these bi-decks, and then there's just one single deck company. It's kind of,
it is different, but at the same time, or it is similar, but it is different because there isn't one dominant manufacturer in the bi-deck world like there is with Ambition in the single deck world. And there is a ton of variety in the bi-deck world. And frankly, I think that's super cool. As much as I love Ambition, I think some healthy competition and just like seeing other people bring things to the table would just be a cool thing to see. And of course, there's spaces for other things like other team riders that, may not be on Ambition and other board shapes or whatever it may be. And again, I back Ambition. I'm down with it. By no means am I hating, but it would just be cool to see,
Yeah, and I'd say in bi-decking, it pushes the model and design. So because I see so many different companies trying just new things and, pushing the development aspect of it, which you don't, for the most part see in single deck. But
I'll be the first to say I wish there was more companies. I was excited when Hot Dish was starting up. I was like, oh, cool. I didn't feel like it was a threat in any way. It's like whatever's going to make it more popular, who's ever going to maybe bring some more team riders out of the woodwork, do their own thing, different style. It's healthy and it's great. And I don't think Icon has completely disappeared. I'm pretty sure they're still making boards. They seem to be, a little bit active. And my only complaint is I wish they were more active. I wish he could pursue it more. I know Matt had explained why things went the way they did. I'm just glad that he even still makes an effort to make boards and things and kind of post. But I miss Icon, and I wish that they were more active than they are already,
And I'm really hoping that
I love their
2020
videos.
and this demand for snow skating, because my understanding is that Icon sold out of all the boards that they had, and I think they were sitting on stock for a couple of years. I could be totally wrong with that. Matt, if you're listening, please DM me if I'm wrong with that. But I think it's cool that they did sell out of the boards that they had, and I hope that lights a fire to like for them to make boards for the 2021-2022 season, and see a resurgence in Icon, and maybe another manufacturer will pop out of the woodwork.
I think Icon too, going back to, they control the means of their production. So I think you have to look at Icon as a different company.
True.
Because they were all in-house.
True.
So,
oh yeah.
Feasibly, if that's the thing and Matt just decides like, hey, we're going to just kick back up because the demand is there and I want to do this for snow skating, you could see them feasibly within like a couple months have some inventory and start selling. But again, they have to secure their materials and stuff, but just a very different style of business than what Ambition does. So
right.
For that reason is what, like Zach said, like it's one of the reasons I really liked Icon, and they had such a good approach and their product was different in specific ways. And shout out to Matt Plays, the king of AstroTurf.
True. But at the same time, I feel like it's not like Ambition just appeared and became this monopoly seeming company, as people might put it, or the only one. We've withstood this long because people work so fucking hard, and that includes Alex obviously being one of the main components. It's not even like he just runs the business. He comes out on all the trips, he films us to make the videos, he edits the videos, like he puts in so much work, and he supports us so well. He pays for our travel, he makes sure all our needs are met, and through that, like, he's able to keep things flowing. And I think a lot of it comes down to just like putting in the love and the work, and it shows. And now it's finally starting to like pop off a bit more. But to me, it's been so well deserved for so long now. I'm glad it's starting to finally feel like it's getting there, but I think it's been long overdue.
And think about it, we could be stuck with Premiere. Like, we could be keeping snow skating alive, and it could be Premiere could be the manufacturer had Ambition not come out of the woodwork, and people would have kept giving their money to Premiere. I mean, think about how bad their boards were from 2005 on.
Yeah.
Like,
I rode one last night. It was garbage.
It's absolutely awful. So we're very fortunate that, and I'm sponsored by Ambition, but we're fortunate that Ambition is the leader in the marketplace, and they are doing legit things for snow skating. Shout out to Alex Blay, shout out to Ambition, absolutely killing it. And, to have a company be the face of snow skating, I think we're very fortunate that it is Ambition and not a Premiere or something else.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Boy.
And with that said, I hope there will be other companies though that come up and do it right too.
Totally. Absolutely.
Icon was one of them, in my opinion, and I hate that they kind of fizzled out in a way. So
yeah,
I really hope there's more. I hope they resurge, if anything. I fucking back Icon fully.
It would be so cool if they just basically created a new team. And I know Andrew Fahlberg,
for sure,
Corey Polaris, they're down with Icon. They're still riding the boards. If they could get those guys on, and some of these up and coming snow skaters, start to send them boards or whatever, and sort of create their own team. That would be so cool. Just to have another snowskate company, creating media, putting out videos, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, for real. I think it'll happen. Maybe not really soon, but I think it will. I think maybe
after this year, there's definitely a lot of hope for it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. A lot of these companies that seemingly get into it are either going to make some garbage board. They just see the demand for it, or they think it's a cool little outlet. So they just, I don't know, think about how many, what's that? Yeah. It's just there's so many shitty boards, and it sucks. People try their hand at it, but they're not doing it right. Icon did it right, and that's why I missed them. They were an awesome They were an awesome competition for that reason. They were fucking genuine, and they were good boards. I was never oh, you're not having an Ambition board. Why are you riding an Icon? It's no, it's a good fucking board too. It's a very good quality board. And
they did something different. They were super high quality. I think they bogged a little bit on the nose, and I don't know enough technically to know if that was actually true. But the times that I did ride an Icon, I enjoyed it. They went really fast. Yeah. I know they used the different base material compared to Ambition. So you had to maintain it a little differently. They had the different shapes. But yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, I guess to sum it up, I want you here if you're going to represent snow skating correctly, which, in my opinion, Icon and Ambition did that.
Yep,
or still
absolutely.
do that.
Yep, and if you're here for a cash grab, get out.
Yeah, fuck off. Yeah.
Wait, you guys didn't know I was sponsored by Fortress?
That was Premiere.
Just kidding.
That was my first snow skate. It was awful.
Same. Yep, first one too.
It was
awful. Almost probably why I almost quit. So yeah. look what it does.
It's amazing that I rode a Fortress for like 3 years and stuck with something. That's incredible.
You know what?
Yeah,
you know what else
I did for 2.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't World Industries make snow skates too for a little bit? Yeah,
for sure.
You think a skateboarding company would be the one to take the reins and like,
right.
And honestly, after this year, I would not be surprised to see it.
I
don't know who would do it. Maybe it would be like a really big brand, like an Element
NHS.
or like like conglomerate.
It'd be the
NHS.
distribution.
Yeah.
It'd be the distribution company starting a new company to do it, and I think it would probably be NHS, which those of you that don't know, it's the distributor for like what's on there, like Indy and all those other. They own all these other skateboarding brands. So if they launched it as like a wing and just started maybe small, and they have the network of shops, they have everything that they would need to do it not only online but brick and mortar and scale up, and like just it just needs to maybe someday.
It's funny that you bring up Element, Rick, because if I were to think of like one major skateboarding company, they would make the most sense. So that they've already like dipped their toes into like shoes and other kind of wild projects, and I feel like they're big enough to almost not care about their reputation in that way. Like they would make sense if they were to try their hand at that, actually.
Especially at this stage, like I don't mean to like knock Raphael, but it seems like a lot of like the legit skaters on Element are kind of gone from Element, right? And again, I don't follow skating that closely, but like seeing Evan Smith leave and like that sort of crowd like jump ship from Element, it's like, okay, that's kind of a sign that not good things are going on there. Yeah, Mason Silva.
Yeah. Mason talked about it in his Slap Questions interview thing that he did, or maybe it was even on the Bunt. I don't know, but he talked about like why they did that. And it was basically at the core, like it didn't feel like a core skateboarding company to them. They were bummed on that new ownership or new management, excuse me. So yeah, it was one of those things. So that's why it makes sense why they would probably try to do something less skateboard-esque, maybe like a snow skate company. And if they're big enough, they're looking for additional sources of revenue, and if they could see an untapped market like snow skating, which frankly is an untapped market, especially in the US, like it would make a lot of sense if they actually wanted to do it. They had the distribution, they had the manufacturing ability, like there's a market there. Just for information's sake, also when World Industries made snow skates, they were exactly the same as Premiere. There was no difference. Yeah,
they were just molded, shitty plastic, right?
They literally made the exact same Fortress. It could have been even the same. They could have been Premiere boards with a different like logo on them. Just said World Industries. There's no difference. They made that hard plastic nylon one that like with the steep tails, and they also made their rendition of a Fortress, which can't even almost call it a rendition. It was literally the exact same boards. I don't think there's anything different.
I wonder if Andy Wolf made money off that.
That's
I wonder if
maybe someone knows.
Element or
those are just Premiere boards.
World Industries approached like Andy and Premiere and was like, "Hey, let us make snow skates under our brand," and then Andy made money off it, which actually is pretty sick.
I bet they did. I want to say probably because if you had that patent, how could they have done it?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
So I bet they were because they were the exact same boards.
And get him on here. That would be fascinating.
On the list. That'd be such a great episode. I mean,
I don't know if it would work, but God, it'd be so sick.
I don't know what he'd be able to talk about, but yeah, it'd be great.
Oh, it'd be incredible.
Or even Nick Aarons. I know Nick's on the list too. It'd be a good one to get. Anyone who was there for the start of that would be awesome.
Definitely. Yeah, we got a pretty deep list.
Yeah.
All right, that should.
Oh, did he really?
I did.
Okay.
Anyways,
take a look.
Sorry, keep going.
Take a look. No, it's just about to wrap up the podcast. We had our not so rapid fire questions to get into, but we're already, God, what are we, 2.5 hours in? So we're going to wrap this one up. Andrew, Zach, anything else to mention or plug before we wrap up?
Oh, I thought I had something. Hold on. Zach, do you have anything? I was going to plug something. Ross Knowlton videos on YouTube. For sure, go check those out.
Check them out.
So we were hyped on those today.
Really good. Yeah, I was pretty hyped on those today. Extreme Grip, shout out, love it. wouldn't skate barefoot, and snow in general. Hopefully coming soon to your area.
Yeah, for real.
That'd be great. Although I looked at the forecast this week and it's going to be warm, but yeah.
Yeah, our great skating in Minneapolis is unfortunately coming to an end this week.
Yeah,
we're hitting that freeze-thaw cycle, and we don't have enough snow to make it sustainable after that. So your boy's going to be playing a lot of golf in the simulator the next couple of weeks, but that's fine. All right, boys. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it as always. If you're listening, hyped you made it this far. Thank you very much, and go snow skate.